This podcast contains some magical adult language. Listener discretion is advised. And sorry, Mom.
I'm going to Disney World. I'm going to...
Whoa. You're not Mickey Mouse, you're a rat.
Rat smack! Besides, they're tourists. What do they know?
Welcome to Rat Castle, a progressive chat about Disney magic without the pixie dust. I am Nathan Hartman, and with me today we have Victoria. Hello, Victoria.
Sorry, I was coughing.
Just really making a great entrance. I'm not cutting this out. I'm not going to do it.
Okay, that's fine.
That's Victoria, everybody. So hi, Victoria.
Hello.
How you
Good
doing?
day.
Apparently, things are slightly askew. Apparently, Dave. Hello, Dave.
Well, hello. After a brief respite, I'm back. Hello.
Yes, Dave. As a bear, he's hibernating, getting ready for winter.
Hello. Hi. I'm the problem. It's me.
Yeah, and with us, Sarah is ill, and we had to move our date, and we couldn't have Janine with us either. But, ladies and gents, we have a very special guest and a dedicated rat listener, a rat bastard herself. It's special guest Itzy. Hello, Itzy.
Hello.
It's so fun to have you.
Friend.
Can I just say I am such a fanboy for you? Like, they told me you were coming on the show. I was like, ah! Yay.
No,
So
I'm such a fan of everybody else.
it's great to have you.
It's so fun.
Thank you.
So we have and we have lots of news. We were going to record, of course, on Thursday night, which is what we normally do, but it is Saturday morning because we had to make the move, and then just news. So we've cut stuff and we've added stuff because we realized that because we were recording later, we could also talk about the return of some imagination. It's phantasmic. It's returned. It's back. And at Hollywood Studios, of course, we've got character updates. We have new lighting. We have all sorts of business, and we've all had a chance to watch it. I did not go personally because I'm not an idiot and see no reason to go see a show that will be here 365 days of the year.
Oh, you're gonna hate me then.
Oh yeah.
I'm
What is that?
going next weekend.
Well, that's fine. See, it's already old by then. It's
Yeah.
the idea of being in the first one. That's the problem for me.
Oof.
It's
Oh, no, I
not
hate that.
opening night.
No,
First
did
culture
you?
Is a
It's a you went opening. Oh, you didn't. Okay.
No, I said it's not like going opening night
Oh,
and
oh.
waiting 3 hours to get inside.
Oh no, not 3
No,
hours.
no, thank you.
Park open.
Yeah, some waited till park open. That is foolish. That is foolish, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I don't.
So
Sometimes
silly.
I don't get it. Okay, there are times where merch is going to go fast and you're not sure. I've been in line for Tiki Room Funkos before and stuff that like I'm like I really want this and I don't know if it's going to be here. But like it's like Epcot 40 merch or whatever when stuff like that comes out and people are like, oh god, I gotta be there like my first time, and you're like, no, you don't. That stuff's gonna be here for months and months and months, and it will be another wave. And the same goes with these, especially with these shows. It's like they just spent thousands of dollars to revamp Phantasmic. It's not exactly going to go anywhere. So
I mean, I see it from a creator standpoint because now you can really make money off of it.
Of
Like you can
course.
monetize live
Yeah.
streaming now.
yeah,
So
totally.
if you're first, you're guaranteed to
Yeah.
get more views.
oh for
Yeah.
sure. And
there
Disney,
was
of
a
course.
lot.
Yeah, and half that audience was made up of vloggers, and of course I do not disagree with the dedicated media base in the community that wants it to be seen.
And hey, that's how we saw it.
That's how we saw it, and
That's
I don't
how we
have,
saw it.
do not have a
Yeah.
problem with that.
Oh, I saw it.
The clout, of course, of just the TikToker or whatever doing it. I'm like, what are you there for? What's the point? Besides weird clout. But it's fine. I think Disney, kind of landed on their face. Why they didn't just do a live stream of this, I don't get. Because they
Yeah.
do a live stream of so much other
Yeah,
stuff.
I was really confused by that. Like someone brought that up on my TikTok, and I was like, actually, that's a good point because that would have been a great way to put that on Disney Plus
Yeah.
since it's a brand new thing.
Well,
Yeah.
they did it with Enchantment
right?
and Harmonious.
Yeah.
They live streamed the first showings of it. even though like they had what was it, a rain delay for Enchantment,
Yeah.
they still live streamed it, and I was very confused as to like on socials at least there wasn't much of a lead up for being like Fantasmic opening day that I
No.
saw for Harmonious and that I saw for Enchantment. And I'm gonna be honest, more people love Fantasmic more than
Oh,
they
yeah.
love Enchantment or
It
Harmonious.
Yeah,
might be
of
because they
course.
were trying to hype up the 50th, and those were 50th offerings,
Yeah.
which both suck, sadly. But
But
I mean,
that's the
I don't
thing.
hate Harmonious. I don't hate
I-
Harmonious, but I've yet to see Enchantment, and I refuse.
I am a Harmonious truther.
Mhm.
I love Harmonious.
I am a Harmonious truther. I love Harmonious specifically, and I am very biased on this, the Latin American section.
Sure.
Sure,
That's-
of
yeah.
course, I
That's fine.
understand.
I never saw it in
Enchantment.
person. I only saw it on video.
Oh, it's beautiful in person.
I
You
hated
need to see it
Enchantment.
before it leaves.
Yeah.
Nathan,
Nathan.
Grinch.
Nathan's got a face.
Eh. As I've always, and I'm not gonna go, we're not going back into this Harmonious. We're not doing this.
We hashed this one out. Yeah.
But
We've done this one before.
but as I've said, any show that is going to put big ass paperweights in the middle of a beautiful scenic area all day has got to be
Preach.
the greatest show I've ever seen, and not like Las Vegas Water Show 2.0. So
Preach.
sorry.
I gotta say, I am one of in the minority that I don't mind the barges. I'm not. I don't. There's
no,
not
I don't
much-
mind them either.
There's
Okay.
not much times where I'm staring into the lagoon.
Well, I think as an AP, I stare in the lagoon certainly more than people who just show up. Mostly going, what the hell have I done with my life? Just staring in the lagoon,
We are very
thinking
so
about
off
falling
course.
into it and being somebody in this. Anyway, let's talk about Fantasmic. This is going to go long. I can already tell. This is why we cut stuff. So I would say the main differences in Fantasmic are the fun colonizer scene from Pocahontas. I thought it said
Can we take
Pinocchio, which
a
is
moment?
really funny. Yes, so we got rid of the fun
Yeah.
colonizer scene,
Which
and it
It
was
was
weird.
always boring anyway. It was this canoe ballet. It was really terrible. But I
Also,
remember when
I hated the cannon. The cannon is the fucking
too
worst,
loud.
yeah.
Too loud cannon.
it was the canon during that segment.
Yeah.
It was the Captain
Yeah.
Hook segment for the California. Can I just say I am a salty Californian when it comes to Florida Fantasmic, because to me the magic of Fantasmic when it first opened, I was there opening night in 1992.
Oh, so you're
I
one of
think.
those. One
Yes,
of those first
but-
nighters.
We sure.
No, it's fine. I don't
Well,
know.
way back when I was an idiot in my 20s.
And to be fair, when it actually originally opened, I think that counts
Yeah.
for a lot. Like this is
Yeah.
different. So yeah.
And what the magic of Fantasmic to me was that it takes place in a part of the park that you're walking through all day. That it's a magical transformation, that literally things come out of nowhere and you're like, what am I seeing? Right? Like, so when I heard it was opening in Florida, I was excited, and then I'm like, oh, it's a custom built theater. Oh, okay. And I was not really a huge fan, but I will tell you from watching this new one, I don't like the changes they made in California,
Ooh.
like at all.
Interesting.
And so this one hits me in a little nostalgia spot, especially like the dragon, the kind of cheesy looking dragon. They put a big, huge, expensive animatronic one here in California, and I'm like, I kind of like the head on a stick and the plastic wings. That was more fun. So, but so I'm sort of coming around on Florida. I don't love the big mound of mountain in the back because it's just kind of meh. And I wish the boat were full size, because the first time it came out, I laughed. I'm like, that is not a paddle wheel boat. It's a tiny little thing. But I get it. Like now that it's leaning into the purpose of it for that park, which is very different. It's to get people to stay versus, and it is in Disneyland too. But I actually really liked watching the full show on YouTube. The changes especially are pretty great. I love Show Yourself. That music from Frozen 2 is way better than Frozen 1. Thank you very much.
Let's talk about that real quick, so people know what's going on. The character updates where they took out the colonizer scene. Pinocchio, I did it again.
You just really want Pinocchio and Fantasmic.
You're just thinking about the whale.
Yeah, I don't know what my deal is. I would say Pocahontas is about as fictional as Pinocchio in that storyline anyway. But Pocahontas still shows up and does a
Mhm.
little song. But it's more connected to a segment that has, let's see here, Moana has a segment, Mulan
Mulan,
has a segment, and
Aladdin.
Aladdin.
Aladdin has a segment, and Elsa has a segment because that is now law. And so, but as Dave points out, it's from Frozen 2. Thank Christ. If I had to hear Let It Go in one more form, I would, I would throw myself into that lagoon. So,
Oh,
that's what's
you would never survive elementary.
no,
Oh,
no, absolutely not. There's a reason I'm still not a parent. I'm just waiting for Let It Go to finish out, and then I might procreate. So the I think that's it, right? I mean, they did some.
Yes.
That's kind of the core change.
I mean, I will
For
say the
live
water
action.
projections look a lot better.
The lighting is everything, lighting wise and
Yes.
projection wise is better. They
Yeah.
they
Looks
Looks like
spent
they
the
add
money.
some special ejects.
Special
Effects.
special.
Special ejects. You get yeeted out of the stage.
yeet.
Yeah, just whoop. Are you talking? Whoop.
Though I really, really did enjoy the projections. And this is from somebody who is I'd like to call myself a phantasmic virgin. I haven't seen a full show. Before watching the YouTube video of the new updates in Florida, I've only seen the end
Oh.
with Mickey Mouse, and I've only seen the boats from California. So this was a brand new show to me.
Well, there you go.
I really, really liked seeing Mirabelle, and maybe I'm biased, but I love seeing
true.
Mirabelle all over the parks. It just
Yeah.
makes my heart happy.
It's great. And
It's just a shame that you only get her in the shows and stuff like that, like
Yes.
little bites. Of
we
Yeah.
need I want a Mystic Manor attraction where you ride through Casita. I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
But your cosplay of her is phenomenal, by the way.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
I love it
Thank
so
you.
much. It's so cute.
I wear it in school any chance I get because
Oh.
the kids, especially the teeny tiny pre-K, they see me and they're like, "Oh, that's her." Like that's
Yeah.
not. We don't know Ms. Z. We don't know her.
Oh, my
That's
heart.
Mirabelle.
Oh my heart. It's
That's
so
the
cute.
closest. The closest I will get to being a character at Disney.
I also really loved the Moana segment just because of her jumping in the water.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
And her like connecting with
skipping
the
in it.
water was
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
nice.
It was great. It reminded me of there's a thing in one of the Cirque du Soleil shows where somebody's walking on water and like 10 seconds later somebody high dives into it like it's a moving piece of they move something out of the way, right? And so I was like, oh, that's cute. They put a little platform there for it. That's great. But I loved in the wide shot how the whole shoreline goes and like
Yes.
lights up.
Yeah.
That was great. I loved that segment a lot. I love the Mulan segment was fun. That was really cute. And the Aladdin was nice. I thought that Aladdin sort of
It's
bookmarked
okay.
it all.
We know you want to talk about Elsa.
I will say on the topic of Elsa, I think Disney and their like shows in general are really understanding the emotional element of
Yeah.
where exactly to hit the heartstrings, because to do
Yeah.
Show
Mhm.
Yourself and Moana back to back
Yeah, it
was
works.
such a it hit me right in the heart.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Right in the feels. Like that, like
right in the feels.
yeah,
Yeah.
and structurally those songs are really similar. And yeah, I loved it. I thought that was a really smart move. But Show Yourself
Yeah.
is, I mean, I am a Frozen 2 music stan more than I am even the first one by
Same.
a lot.
I agree.
I actually think
better.
it's a much better film.
It's
But
better.
yeah,
More
and,
mature.
but those
I love the storyline of Frozen 1, but the music of Frozen 2.
yeah, totally. There's a
Okay.
couple of great YouTube clips of people breaking down the music of Frozen 2 and the Dies Irae and all that stuff that they write into it. I'll find the link and send you guys. It's really great. But yeah, when that popped up in that moment, it same with me. I got like, why am I getting a lump in my throat from watching something on YouTube? What is
Yeah.
happening right now? It was perfect musical emotional science, you know?
Yeah, and especially like the I Am Moana like stinger, and it just works. It's really
Yeah.
it's far better than just a really long ass Pocahontas scene. So
And you know, Pocahontas will always have a weird history, I think, now with Disney, as in there are people who appreciate the movie and the music because it is beautiful music, but then you remember
And then
you
you
remember
remember.
American history, and
Whoops.
you go, "Huh,
I think they really just didn't want to touch on it mainly because of that incident from earlier this year.
And we'll talk about that as well. We have all sorts of stuff to talk about tonight. Actually, we'll just go to that first. So, in a reverse of a previous incident, as you might remember on this podcast, we have talked about how Disney had allowed a high school. They allow lots of high school marching bands to march down Main Street, and one of them was the Indians, and they did a Scalp 'em Indians segment with full headdresses. And these were the whitest girls you've ever seen in your life. Not that I think it's just not good. And
No
interestingly enough, because of that incident, Disney had just recently canceled a parade for a marching band called the Indians because they refused to cover up their Indian mascot, I think on their drum or something of that nature, in the park. So the group went. This group was, let's see here, if I remember my notes. This was a Florida high school. Oh, it's a shock and a half. It's a Florida high school.
What a
Who'da
shock.
Yeah, this is Venice High in Sarasota. And you know, we're known for our Indian culture here in Florida now. Certainly this is a school full of actual Native Americans. No, of course not. So they came and they refused to change their identity. I think that seems that they were the marching Indians. Disney notified the principal of the policy change that bands either had to change its name or cover the school's mascot because it depicts a Native American. And as we said before, the Texas high school that had done this before kind of set the precedent for this. And the principal complained. He said he talked to Disney twice about this and was like, they're great students and they're, you know, whatever, wonderful at all that. And Disney was like, nah, not gonna budge. And so the band still went and enjoyed Disney. Like they just didn't march.
Yeah.
And Goodwin here. Goodwin is the Sarasota School Board Chair, Jane Goodwin. She says, I'm disappointed that they don't get to go because they have really improved a lot. They are on a trajectory to do some great things, so I'm concerned and sad that they're not going. Look, I don't blame the students. I'm sure they're a great band. It's not really about them. But I don't think the students would care if they didn't say their name.
And you know, it's
right.
So
That's
weird to me how there are certain things that people just won't budge on, regardless of whether they would good would benefit from it. It's just they're holding on to these beliefs that matter very little to the course of their life, and they just won't let go of it.
Well, sports is something, and I guess it's a school thing, but sports is all about tribalism, and picking your team, and
yeah.
I mean, this football is just, I mean, it's literally like our villages will fight each other, and we don't kill each other anymore, but somebody wins, and we feel good, and you feel bad. Yeah, I don't take a wild shock if Nathan watches sports. And I do watch the World Cup a little bit, so I'm not necessarily against that.
I just do football, the other one.
It had to be international. I had to, you know, but still corrupt. So don't worry. Yeah, I mean, I think that's why it gets kind of tied in. People, it's all identity creation, right? You don't wear a shirt and face paint and go nuts and only talk about a thing in the same way, you know, Disney people are the same way. It's all about having an identity in something. And to be like, you can't have that identity anymore. The world's moved on. I mean, there's no difference between this this high school having trouble with getting rid of the Indian name and people like clinging onto the log rafts at Splash Mountain and screaming. Like, there's no difference between these two crowds. It's all about identity creation and not seeing the humanity in others because you're worried about your own identity. So yeah, but congrats to Disney. They did the right thing. We don't get to say that very. Yeah, we don't get to say that very often.
For once.
Well, and
you know what's funny?
Because they got in trouble. But yeah,
I didn't know this was happening. I had no idea that they can't they didn't let the band go on. But there was this clip going around on Twitter about the Disney Channel show Sweet Life on Deck,
Mhm.
where London Tipton makes a very layered joke about the Indian Native American thing,
Mm.
because they were in India, and I forgot the whole plot, but there was I think there was like a costume party, and one of the girls who is of Indian descent wanted to dress up like a cowboy, and the mom said, no, we're not dressing up as cowboys. And London Tipton chimes in, she goes, oh yeah, that's right, because Indians and cowboys have like strong beef in between each
Mhm.
other. And I'm like, oh, the layers in
Oh, the
between that.
layers.
Who knew Disney Channel could make a smart joke
Yeah.
like this?
Known for great cultural satire, the Disney Channel.
And the thing is that the high school could have just gone by their high school name.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, okay, if there's insignias or emblems on the costumes, maybe that would have taken some effort. But
Yeah.
I mean, them sticking their feet in the mud, if they think this is going to have a positive effect on their students, they're kind of wrong.
Especially seeing the backlash that the other school got. I don't understand the need to be like, yeah, we want some of that.
Yeah, I don't know either. But at least somebody is, I don't know, at the watch at Disney finally on these things. Another interesting little PR Disney thing that we recently saw is the Walt Disney World ambassadors went around and told cast members that they were joining Tron Light Cycle Run and they would be on the opening team for Tron Light Cycle Run. This is, of course, a PR stunt, and is them running around and saying congratulations and like here's a thing and opening a thing. But I want to talk a little bit about this because I don't really. I mean, people have got to run the ride. I get that, but why do you guys think this is a good PR move? I always see it as like every time I see it, I think, congratulations, you now have a ride that is going to be really iffy and you're going to have people screaming at you. Enjoy your year. Is there a pay raise? No, of course there's no pay raise. Just enjoy this thing.
I mean, the only thing I see out of it is like it's telling people more. Okay, Tron is coming, but I'm like,
yeah,
I don't give a fuck about that. Pay them more.
Yeah, right. That's the only reason they did it, is to sort of another notch in, hey, Tron's on its way 3-4 years late, 5 years later.
Like, if you don't pay these people a livable wage.
Yeah,
I think
right.
they wanted to show, look, our CMs are happy. They're not complaining.
That
our CMs
too.
are happy.
Yeah.
Which, like, I bet they are. It's a fun experience to be on an opening team for a new ride.
It is.
But at the same time, given the landscape of everything, given what most people know, it feels a little dystopian.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
they're not asking them if they want to be on the ride.
It's just like, you are on here.
Yeah.
Get to work.
You will go to the grid. So
with a certificate that looks like a perfect attendance award, if I'm going to be very honest.
Yeah,
it was printed on the mimeograph machine at the middle school. Like I remember seeing this when they did this for Galaxy's Edge, right? When people are going to be, now that's a little different.
Yeah,
Like, that's a whole land. I get it.
It's a whole land. It's the depth of Star Wars fandom. It's the history of Star Wars,
and it's immersion.
As a story, and it's immersion.
They're gonna play
I
a
was
role.
going to say that it's a little different with Star Wars.
Yeah, and now I mean, full disclosure, I'm probably the biggest Tron fanboy you'll ever meet in your life. Like, you have no idea the depths of my Tron fandom. But even I was like, really? Compared to the Star Wars one, because like Tron's a fun world. Yes, it's going to make a fantastic. I've been on the ride in Shanghai. It's fantastic. It's great. But this seemed, I'm with Victoria. Like, I just pay these people better. Don't give them a flimsy little paper certificate. Come on now.
I think there's two kind of like ages you live in if you are someone of a progressive thought, which is, oh man, I really want to be a Disney World ambassador. And then you grow up a little bit and you go, oh, I never want to be a Disney World ambassador. Like, you're just this absolute shill, like that is tasked with doing like the most kind of like gross PR stunts, and kind of, I don't know, I feel like it's a misuse of people, and like it's just strange, because what else are they going to do in front of a camera than smile? They don't get a choice.
Like they
Um,
really don't. And that was my thing. I'm like, did you at least like give them some sort of notice? Like maybe did you ask them if they wanted to do that? Like
yeah, it's strange. I feel like one should have just been like, "But I like the Jungle Cruise," or just somebody like who's totally like not for it. Like, I hate
Right.
it. No.
And the idea of just surprising them while they're currently working is very weird because now it's being a worker of any public service is, hard in itself.
Right.
But like theme parks is even harder because you already have to act. You
Yeah.
have to bring up your energy up to like 110%. And then suddenly you have cameras in your face and you're very confused and somebody gives you a printed out certificate. It's such a weird thing to do.
Yeah, it's weird. I hope they stop doing it. So anyway, with that news, let's go over to Animal Kingdom. Well, not technically, it's not at Animal Kingdom, but we would like to see it at Animal Kingdom. Itzy, what do you have for us about what we should be seeing in Pandora at some point, if the world is a good and just place?
In Animal Kingdom news, it is not really Animal Kingdom news. Over at Avatar Experience, which is in Singapore. It's in a place called Gardens by the Bay.
Yeah, a really
Yeah,
beautiful Epcot,
Really
vibe.
unbelievably beautiful attraction garden in Singapore. Yeah.
Which sounds really cool. They just opened something called Avatar the Experience, where it's like, I'm assuming it's like an immersive experience that like, you see around the United States sometimes with like Hamilton or Van Gogh and things of that sort.
Jurassic World just had a huge one that's going around currently too, where they
Ooh,
use a lot of
fun.
the same sort of puppetry
Yeah.
mix.
Yes.
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, that one's coming to Chicago soon.
Oh, that's exciting.
But it is just telling you about the world of Avatar, and they have this very, very cool giant animatronic that they're calling life size.
Yeah.
A life size Ikran, which we know if you've been in Pandora is the banshees. And it's really cool. And there's been videos and clips of it circulating the internet, and the eyes of it are very, very realistic to the point where it's creeping me out. But we are hoping, fingers crossed, that this comes to Animal Kingdom, or maybe not this exact one, but something like it comes to
Well,
Animal
knowing the
Kingdom.
budget of Disney, it will be this exact one.
True,
Um,
true.
But I guess Dave, you're the expert on some of this stuff. I vibe that this is puppetry more than animatronic, but I can't decide. When you look at it, it's the base of it is a little extended. It looks like it could have a person controlling a long, kind of, I'm trying to think of the name
Yeah.
for him, kind of balanced system, but I can't tell.
It does look a little more like puppetry. There's a little more sort of
Fluidity?
kinetic it's not
Yeah.
fluidity. It's yes, but it's also like the changes of direction that are a little more sudden and things that just feel more like organic control. It's hard to describe, but I did watch it thinking the same thing, that it might be a puppet. It's just weird that it's on display. There's no curtain to close, right?
Yeah.
It's there all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not going to go dead. So how do they switch? So now somebody's not going to be in there all day, but I don't really know. The thing about this attraction in particular, like the people that did this and the Jurassic Park one, it's a company called City Neon, and they do a lot of touring shows and exhibits and things. I am sure that this was in progress as a deal, as a contract before the Disney purchase of 20th Century Fox. Because the department that is working on this, I have a friend that's working in it, is like approving this and the Fox stuff at Genting Sky Worlds in Malaysia, and so there's all these sort of themed entertainment and projects like this that are out in the world that Disney with their Imagineering folks now have to sort of embrace and say, all right, we need to make sure. So this department now is making sure things are good, frankly, and whether or not that means they're looking at it to bring into the parks, hard to tell. I don't think this animatronic was made by Disney at all,
No,
or
not at all.
any of their vendors. It's very good though. Like
Yeah.
it's really
amazing looking. It's so
really
impressive.
it's really impressive. But like I'm with you that it could come to Animal Kingdom in some way. They could do some sort of character meet and greet or something.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you sort of take a vibe from the old school Jurassic Park Triceratops encounter.
Yes, exactly. Right.
And you just sort of there's a land back there that you just open this up, you put this in, you bring people if it's puppetry, you bring
Right.
people in once in a like in kind of timed segments to see it. The only problem with puppetry, let's hope it's animatronic, because Bob Chapek does not want to pay any union puppeteers at all. No
Ever.
puppeteers
Yeah.
ever. So we can only hope that it's a robot. I always wanted I'll talk about that in a second. A little more about the Neon Group. They have an Avengers attraction, a Transformers attraction, Jurassic
Yeah.
World,
Mhm.
Hunger Games, Avatar, a lot of attractions that I would call non-IP that could be used at any museum: Pompeii, T-Rex, mummies, Ramses, Machu Picchu. So this is a really rad organization. Some cool stuff. But I always thought that in the queue, in the outside queue of Flight of Passage, you should have seen, when going on the exterior of the queue, you should have been able to look up at that side of the floating rocks and seen an Ikron in a cave that they could easily, during rain or whatever, drop a facade and it wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, or if you did the Triceratops encounter thing where it's it's getting its saddle fit or something, or maybe
100%.
it's sick, or maybe it's sick and you're attaching the tree of life to it to make it better, and it sneezes on you just like Triceratops encounter.
It's a win-win. If they I can't fathom them not. They should do something like that. They need another thing in there.
Yeah, because if I'm honest, it needs something. I haven't been in there since like 2018.
Yeah,
I was there recently, and while Pandora is beautiful,
absolutely,
you don't necessarily know that it's Avatar unless you know Avatar, or unless you know the rides and you step into the rides.
Yeah,
like if you go to Flight of Passage, you're not necessarily sure what an Ikron is. You don't know what a Banshee looks like.
Boy, they try to tell you though.
Oh my yes, Lord have mercy. Yes, they do.
Do you want to bet in the new movie that the terms are used multiple times? Characters literally say "my Ikron," right? Like they're gonna make sure it's 3 hours long. So
Dave, that's a nice idea, but you forget this is a James Cameron movie, and that man is king, and he doesn't get. No one tells him anything.
True. At the same token, it's 3 hours long, so I think half of that dialogue is going to be explaining to people what things are.
I just think it's gonna be aesthetic and vibes, and I'm here for aesthetic and vibes.
Yes.
Right, not 3 hours of aesthetics and vibes.
Yeah. I'm going to take the biggest edible before I see that movie. I'm just telling you right now.
I will say Pandora in itself is beautiful. It just needs more interactive stuff. And what I was reading is that alongside with the full size Banshee, they have a baby Banshee and a Viper Wolf pup. And I think that would be really cute for the kids in that area to see a baby Banshee or to see the little pups. Also for me, I would like that.
Yeah.
Not just the kids. I would want to see a baby Banshee.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great idea.
I start to think about story-wise, like I'm totally for that, but then I'm like, how do you do that in that story world? Because you can't have a zoo. They can't like be on display.
Yeah.
They don't have vets because the planet fixes them when they're sick.
Also, isn't the planet technically gone or something like that?
No, it's
no. It's still there. And the new one is, I think, is it on a different side of Pandora, or is it on a different planet?
I don't know.
The new trailer makes it seem like a group, Jake Scully and the group are like traveling, and they go to a different tribe that's watery and
just like the ride film. I mean, just like exactly like Flight of Passage. You see all the other tribes and different sort of environments.
Yeah, and let's talk for a second about why in the hell they did not get a Way of the Water Flight of Passage film and just put it on the marketing budget. I don't get
Mm,
it. I
mm.
don't.
I don't either.
I think it's just because they look at it and go, it still gets 3-hour lines. We don't need to change anything. You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
disagree. I don't disagree from that perspective, but I disagree in the perspective that this is a make or break film for a huge franchise they paid a lot of money for.
Yeah.
And they really need, okay, you have a captive audience that is probably the best selling point you have is this land for you to get invested into the new movie. So you would assume we're going to push this, we're going to have some sort of outside of Pandora, but close. We're going to have some sort of Way of Water concept art, a gallery, something. We're going to have Way of Water merch. We're going to have James Cameron and a bunch of people come down and do interviews about Way of Water that we're going to then push out on Disney Plus. Something. You have a freaking land, and I don't feel they've utilized it at all.
When does the movie
not
open?
necessarily yet, because they like to do shit last minute.
Yeah, but it's
when does the movie open?
No, I agree with you though.
The movie opens in December, and
in December,
it's already
agree
screened.
With you though, Nathan.
Yeah, I think some people have seen it or something. I can't remember. I don't think we're there yet, but
I think the first 10 minutes were shown in D23. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, it opens on the 16th of December.
Okay.
So this is their big Christmas movie.
But you know, alongside everything, and it's coming out soon, I'm still not sure what the plot of this movie is. I know.
Thank you.
There's water.
Yeah.
There's water.
There's a way for that water to be clear.
There's a way for it.
A baby is coming.
Yeah.
I don't know what else. Is this
and
climate
it's
change?
Crazy. I asked on Twitter, I'm like, I'm not even joking. I'm not trying to be mean, but what is this movie about? And I got like 4 different answers.
Yeah.
I saw that you tweeted out, and I saw the different responses, and I said, where is everybody getting this information from?
Where's everyone? Somebody said they read. I'm like, what did you read?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, I think that's kind of I think it's a wise move actually, because we're all going to go see it, and I'm going to see it in 3D, and I might pay for Dolby. Like, I want to see this thing, CC this thing. So congrats, Jimmy. You got me. I'm in. No matter if I know the plot. Maybe I shouldn't know the plot,
Gonna be dragging my feet the entire way because it's a 3-hour movie and my bladder can't handle it. But Lord knows I'm gonna be in that seat.
Why, Jim? We all know Jim's a listener. Jim.
James, if you will.
Jimmy, we need to talk about the movie intermission and how you, Jim Cameron, can bring it back.
Could force that, yeah.
You can bring that back.
Absolutely.
If the Sound of Music can do it, so can
100%.
Avatar: Way of Water.
What would impress me the most about Avatar? If it started with an overture. If it was just like,
give me some Gone with the Wind overture.
Yeah. Just the full on overture intermission. Guess what, movie theaters? Would you like my attention for 10 minutes to refill on popcorn? You would get it.
Movie theater regular sodas are the size of my head. I have drank too many liquids. I need to go.
I basically don't drink liquids for 24 hours before I see a movie because I can't stand the 30 seconds I miss. I run down a theater like I'm missing an airplane. I'm like,
and the older you get, I'm warning you, it gets much worse.
It's worse. Oh, you should have saw me when I saw Endgame in 1 weekend twice.
My
bladder was going through it.
I saw Endgame. Endgame was like the first Avengers-ish movie I've ever seen, and I only went because my friend needed somebody to go with. I was so restless, and I had ants in my pants. I was getting irritated. I'm like, my friend's like, you're like a toddler sitting next to me, and I'm like, it's 3 hours long. I can't sit here for this long.
You got to get that comfy seat so you can take a nap.
I need to stand up and move around.
You need to. There's an app. Okay, this is an app. Maybe they'll give us sponsorship for me mentioning it. It's called RunPee, RUNPEE, and you get P coins by watching trailers and advertisements, and those P coins can be spent to see where are it tells you at this scene is the best time to go, and it'll tell you what you're missing.
Yeah.
That's
It
genius.
syncs with your Apple Watch, so you can set it ahead of time.
Oh,
and your
that's
Apple Watch will
cool.
say 5 minutes to your next pee time. Yeah, and it also says there's something in the end credits it's worth staying for. Like
That's
is
great.
actually a great little movie going app. I swear by it. And
That's
yeah,
awesome.
and every time I'm like getting my popcorn, I'm looking it up, spending a P coin, finding it out, syncing with my phone, syncing with
Itzy's
my watch.
immediately downloading this app.
It's so good. I'm
She
telling
said,
you,
this is the one.
whoever came up with it is a genius, and you need to give us sponsorship money because I will sell that app every time I can mention it. I open it up in the movie theater with friends before the lights go down, and they're like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, you need this."
See, yeah, everyone, we just got to go to the movie theater with Dave and follow him out when it's time. Dave's peeing. We're peeing. That's the rule. Follow
Say
the
the name of
leader.
the app one more time.
Run P. RUNPEE.
I was looking up something
Oh, I'm
completely
gonna need this
different.
next week.
Itzy, no, not
Fine.
that app. No.
Not that one.
Is it the one with the I'm assuming this is the correct one.
This is such a genius app. I'm upset I didn't think about it beforehand.
It's right. It's one of those apps where I'm like, God damn it. I wish I had thought of this because it's all crowdsourced. All the data in it is crowdsourced.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very funny.
So
Anyway, Avatar.
we
got off
are
track.
tangency today. This is why we don't record in the afternoon.
Anyway, here's Wonderwall.
Yeah. Itzy, why don't you take us to a place that is also full of water, and there's a way to it, and that is the reopening of Blizzard Beach on November 13th.
Woohoo!
And of course the closing of Typhoon because of that, because we can only have one water park at a time.
Yes.
Which makes no sense.
But what's going
RIP.
on? What's new over at Blizzard Beach?
So Blizzard Beach is opening up November 13th, so very, very soon. But along with its reopening, there have been some new additions to Blizzard Beach, in which, believe it or not, Blizzard Frozen.
It's
So
a
we
shock.
Who would have thought? There
Who would
was
have
some
thunk?
there was
What?
some real heavy duty thinking going on for whoever decided this, but regardless of it, as our resident Frozen truther, there are little statues of Olaf and his little Snoggy pals walking around. And now, if you are not aware, if you're not caught up on your Frozen lore, the Snoggy pals are from one of the mini shorts, the Frozen mini shorts. And Elsa was sick, and every time she sneezed, little snowmen would appear. So now you get to see these little snowmen around. Well,
These
not
are-
around Blizzard Beach.
These are
Not
Disney
around-
minions, is what they are.
Little
These,
Disney
yeah.
minions.
Pretty much. This is
Um,
their answer for it.
They're
They
very
are.
cute.
Yeah.
They are in the kids area, so the Tykes Peak kids area, and alongside the little Frozen snowman and Olaf, there are also Anna and Elsa kids figurines. So not Anna and Elsa as we know them as adults, but them as kids. So that's very exciting and it's very cute.
But the continuity is all off, Itzy. How can you have little kid Elsa and Anna, but also the little snow people? This doesn't make any sense.
Did someone really complain about that?
No, but I'm writing
no,
the
no,
WW.
no,
I'm
no,
writing
no.
the
People have.
WDWNT article for myself. Just
People
to,
Wait, people have?
Yes. As with anything that Disney comes out with, there will be somebody complaining. I have seen multiple people complain about the kid statues, and they're like, but Elsa came up with these when she was an adult. I'm sorry. I'm going to defend this. Are you telling me Elsa never had a cold as a child?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
That
Are
is
you
sound
Also-
logic. That is
also,
sound
should-
logic. I will die on that hill with you. That's
should
great.
we talk about how the princesses of a Mystic Land are spending their time at a frozen over ski resort?
Yeah, that's the harder part. Like
That's now melting.
That is canonically in Florida. The whole point of Blizzard Beach is that it was a failed. There was a freak snowstorm in Florida, and did they ever give a name to the person who did it? Was it some? Is it like
I don't know.
Merryweather Pleasure kind of story, or is it?
No,
just in
I don't think
general?
so.
I don't
think
think
so.
so.
So, but still, it's like there's a freak storm. So somebody opened a a ski resort in Florida, and then it melted. So we turned it into like it's how does maybe he's licensed Frozen? Maybe this is meta. That park lives outside the Disney IP world, and so he is licensing Disney IP to be there. Maybe that's it.
Well,
And
what
you
I
know
love
what?
is that they showed the restraint to only do this for Frozen. To put them
You
only
know
in the
what? That's
kids'
a fair
world.
point.
Yes.
I was floating in Blizzard Beach and I went, all of this is going to be Elsa creates a water park in like 10 years. Like there's no way that Frozen is not going to end up in a Blizzard themed water park. So the fact that it's only in the kids area and they've just like their desire not to spend the money at this point is actually good.
Yes.
I
I
mean,
will, contrary to many people and the argument that we have about the influx of IP in the parks, I think this is a really cute idea,
I do.
especially
I do
if
too.
it's in the
I agree.
kids area,
Yeah.
because kids will eat that up. I will say the actual statues of Anna and Elsa look very, very pretty. They look very,
Mhm.
very cute. My one gripe is that it is the same Olaf pose position
Mhm.
that is used in everything. I'm like, you can mix it up a bit.
Yeah, it really is. I will say that the nice part about this too is Blizzard Beach gets some Frozen merch, which will sell well.
Mhm.
It'll all be
I
on
kind of
kids'
feel like
shirts
it's
and
a
stuff.
test. Like,
I don't think it's a test. I think I think they would even admit at this point that they can get out of Frozen 3, but that franchise is sort of waning more than it is. I mean, it's crested at this point. And probably the waiting between 1 and 2 a little too long was part of that.
I don't know, because we still got that last
Don't-
Toy Story that nobody asked for.
also, ain't they opening like 500 different Frozen lands?
That's true. I'm not saying they're not pushing Frozen, but they already have I just don't think an entire theme park based on one IP would be
A good
the way
idea.
I
they
don't
would
think it's
go.
ever a good
Yeah.
idea. I
No.
No.
No, like people say, oh, Star Wars should have been a whole park. And let me show you my thesis of
Mm-mm.
why that would not work.
That would
Mainly
not have
because
worked.
after piloting a spaceship
Yes.
and maybe a speeder bike on the surface of the planet, what else is there for a ride?
I could go to prison.
Right.
I've seen that recently.
We could go to
Get-
Space Miami.
Yeah,
Space
or
Miami
like,
looked great.
like a flat ride that is like the droid wash or something. Like, come on. That's what you're gonna get because
You know,
you
you
need
could
capacity.
say that.
You need
Yeah.
capacity.
Say that, but
you
I
can
would-
only do so many dark rides, you know.
That's
I would
actually a good segue.
happily go to the droid.
I would go to the
Wash.
droid wash.
I actually think that's one of the things that's missing. I'll stand on my soapbox for a minute. Like one of the things that's missing from Galaxy's Edge for me is like something for the littles. There's like
Yeah.
nothing,
Yes.
and it
That's
needs
very true.
it needs a little playground. And I thought, wouldn't it be great? You put a tiny little kids spinning ride, and you put it a bunch of Jawa junk, like a pile of
Mhm.
droid junk, and you literally call it the droid wash, and it's either a splash pad play area or a tiny spinning ride or both.
Yeah,
Like-
that's cute.
Come on, a play
yeah.
area with a splash pad.
Actually, I can visualize the perfect spot for that. Like, there's like too many of those photo spots with the like speeders and all that shit. You can
Yeah.
easily
Yeah.
pick out one of those and
Easily.
put that there.
easily.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's off my soapbox. Thank you.
Just so we're clear here, at this point, we have deviated in almost every segment into some other topic.
I'm sorry. I think it's me.
No. It's great.
No, we're
It
like
happens
literally-
more often than you think.
Yeah. But we are. I was like, we're talking about Star Wars, and I looked, and I was like, no, we're talking about Blizzard Beach. But now we're talking about Star Wars.
Now we're talking
Um,
about Star Wars.
Because at Disneyland, and I'm sure we'll be at Disney World sooner than later if it's not already there by the time you listen to this, we have it's time. It's the best time of the year, everybody.
I've been
Right?
waiting for this. I'm ready to learn about this. You've been hyping it up all week.
Everywhere you go, you see, it's time.
Everybody's sending their cards. Everybody's ready.
Mhm.
Their Life Day part. We're talking about Life Day, people. That's what
Yeah, we're talking about Life Day.
Life Day, which is like Star Wars in Christmas in the Star
Christmas
Wars
and-
universe.
Yeah.
Everybody is readying their Life Day cards and having their Life Day parties and baking their Life Day cookies. So
Yeah.
for those who don't know, Life Day is never mentioned in any of the movies. The first time it ever made its appearance was in the Star Wars Christmas special, which, if you don't already know about, is a piece of camp
Oh.
awfulness.
Is poodoo is what it is.
It's actually like, it's not even so bad it's good. It's painful to watch.
It's not fun.
Every time I
Is it
try to
on
sit,
Disney Plus?
Oh, no.
Somebody send me a link because I've never
I'm
seen
looking
it and now I want to.
I will find it.
I have
right
it.
now.
I have it.
Movie
It's on
night.
YouTube. It's on
Movie
YouTube.
night.
I will warn you of a couple things. It never gets good enough to watch. I'm 52. I've tried to watch it about 20 times, and it just, every year I'm like, let's give it a shot. It just doesn't. It's not good. It was made in
Can I
an
ask
era.
a question then?
Yeah.
Of course.
Is it like Last Airbender bad, or is it worse?
Worse, way worse.
Damn.
It's
Oh,
so
no.
it's
No.
really bad. So it was made in an era in the 70s when like a TV special could be a variety show, and that's kind of what it is in a weird
Dean
way.
Martin could just be drunk and talk for an hour and call it a Christmas special.
Wait, Dean Martin's in here?
No,
no,
but I'm just
but
making
it
a
could be
point.
like that.
I have another question.
Yeah.
Is that where the picture of Mark Hamill in the gold sparkly suit came from, or is that something else?
I think that's something else. He's
I
never
think
in a
that's
sparkly
something
suit.
else. Yeah. He does have a kind of bad blonde wig on in that
Yeah, he does.
thing. And well, and he looks a little different. You'll notice he actually looks a little strange. It's because it was after, not only after Star Wars, it's after he filmed what was called Corvette Summer, which was like one of his next movies, and he got in a really bad car accident, and it's where that scar on his face comes from.
Yeah, that's why they put it at Empire, that he gets whopped in the face.
Because he had an accident on a film set. So but yeah, there's so many. I mean, we can do an episode. We should do a Christmas episode solely on this. We should all watch it and talk about it.
We probably
because there's
should.
so much to unpack. Anyway, regardless, Life Day is a holiday that is celebrated primarily by the Wookiees on Kashyyyk, but it has extended throughout the galaxy. But it in the special, it's most sort of realized by the Wookiees, and it's a generic feel-good family holidays, and I think that's the reason Disney has adopted it for merch, because the merch, in addition to saying Life Day, the saying of Life Day is family, joy, harmony. So it's like the live, laugh, love of the Star Wars universe, basically. That's exactly what the merch is being aimed at. All the merch is like, hey mom, here's something for you.
Well, and it's red
about
robes.
pew pew pew. Yeah, right.
It's red robes, and you get a blue orb. And I don't know the history, but that's all I know is you have a blue orb. And I certainly bought a Chewbacca in Life Day outfit plush last year and showed it to Chewie, and he was very excited about Life
the mug.
Day.
They're so
I bought
cute.
the mug and I bought a patch.
They are.
Yeah.
I want the Snuggie.
I want the Snuggie too. It looks comfy.
I want Chewie to wear his Life Day robes.
That would be
In the
really
parks.
cute. That would be really cute.
Here's the thing. It is like, I love that this exists. It makes me so happy, but it's like the crassiest of crass money grabs, because no one, I guarantee you, no one knows this, where this comes from.
I will make a counter argument.
Okay.
All of the Mandalorian girls definitely know about Life Day, because every single fan fiction includes Life Day in it.
Because Life Day is mentioned.
Really?
Life Day
So
is
we
mentioned in
don't-
Mandalorian now.
Yes.
Too.
We don't.
That's true.
I don't know the history of Life Day, but I know that it is like a Christmas thing, because in every single Tumblr fan fiction that you write, it's Mando has never celebrated Life Day before. Now he has Grogu. He
Right.
wants to celebrate Life Day.
Okay. Now, okay,
It's the
that makes
fact that
sense.
Disney hasn't done that themselves.
Hello.
Right.
Disney, go on Tumblr.
But that is probably okay. So it's probably a little bit of both. It's like the zeitgeist of that, and then somewhere in a corporate boardroom in the last 10 years, there's been this giant chart with string and drawings and things going. What are the markets we're missing? Oh, we're missing out on on moms from 28 to 42 who aren't into Star Wars or something, right? Like this is, and I know it's also like we need to show the holidays somehow in Galaxy's Edge, and we can't put up Christmas trees, so what do we do? So it's a little crass. It's a little like, hey, this is there in the canon, we might as well use it, kind of a thing.
But you are so right about the mom aspect.
Oh,
because my
absolutely.
mother, who knows nothing about Star Wars, will eat up anything with Chewbacca in it. And if you show Chewbacca a Wookiee, a mom Wookiee, and a kid Wookiee, and they're in sync and they're in harmony, I know my mom would eat that up.
The mom Chewbacca pop pipeline is one I did not anticipate.
You know
The
what?
mom
With
to
Latin moms,
Chewbacca pipeline.
with Latin moms,
Latin
it's
moms?
Chewbacca. Latin moms, it's Chewbacca and R2D2. And let me tell you why it's R2D2. Because we say in not only is Star Wars a thing, we call him Arturito,
Arturito,
which
right?
is like
right.
Arthur, Arturito.
Like tiny Arthur.
Yeah, and let me tell you, it took me years to realize that that's not his name. His name is R2D2. But
Not Arthur.
I grew up hearing
Yeah.
Arturito, and I'm like, oh
I've
yeah,
heard
that's
that.
little Arturito.
Oh,
I'm telling you right now, now he's
Yeah.
Arthur to me. He is
Tiny Arthur.
Arturito.
Oh.
I also love, I've actually seen the shirts that are the Star Wars font, but it says Star Wars.
I made
On
one
it.
and I wear it
Did
all
you?
the time. Yes, I
Oh.
could make you one. I can make all of you guys
Please.
one.
Oh,
Yes,
I
please.
want one.
That's not cultural appropriate if I wear it, is it? It's
Nope.
I live in
It's
Southern
because-
California.
Listen, now that we have the trifecta of Andor and Din Djarin and Poe Dameron, we're set. We're
Yeah.
good. We have our own Star
We're
Wars.
good.
Yeah.
Latin, I believe, and I don't know firsthand, but I think Itzy, you'll tell me. It seems like Star Wars is now entirely embraced as a part of Latin culture because of those
Star
additions.
Wars, yes, it's insane how much. Because my family used to not really be into Star Wars. We used to be like anything but Star Wars. We want our kids to be into anything but Star Wars because we can't understand it. It's such a deep lore, and it's such it's too much English. But recently, now that Andor is on, Diego Luna used to be a telenovela star.
Yes, he was.
Right.
Yes. So now I was watching Andor with just in our living room, and I see my mom behind me. She goes, "Is that who I think it is?" I said, "Yeah, that's Diego Luna." And she pretended like she wasn't watching. She goes, "He's never done that before. I've never seen him do." She goes, "Him?" And I'm like, "Oh, you love him. You love him. I love him. We love him." And she would just throw out Diego Luna fun facts as we were watching.
Now I wanna caption Andor with things like, cries in Spanish below it.
I have this one meme that I have saved that's like cures depression in Spanish, and it's just Cassian Andor.
I love that meme. That telenovela meme, like the gasps and things.
Oh.
They're over dramatic. I love it so much.
So everything.
That's so
good.
cool to hear. That what a great unexpected little on-road for Star Wars for
Mhm.
your mom. That's really cool.
I'm
Yeah.
getting her into the lore. At first, it was Baby Yoda. She goes, "Oh, that Baby Yoda, he's so cute. I love him." And then he took off the helmet. She goes, that's. I'm like, "That's Pedro Pascal, Mom. I told you, Baby Yoda is a Latino. He's one of ours."
Yeah.
I love it.
So good. So good. I love it. Oh, the saga of Little Arthur.
Little
Okay.
Arthur.
Arturito.
Let us move on to another little man. And this is
That was mean.
I'm happy to be mean. This is Robert J. Peck. I don't know his middle name. I'm gonna say it's J. We've lost Itzy. She has swallowed water or something exactly when I said that, and she's now dying. But Victoria, tell us about a recent Wall Street Journal interview with Mr. Chapek, and how did that go?
Sorry, I had a sneeze. So yes, our dear friend Bob Chapek spoke at Wall Street Journal Tech Live within the past 2 weeks now, I believe. And
Yes.
as always, he don't know how to communicate how he's feeling. So I mean, there's a lot. I'm just gonna hit the highlights. So the big one that I saw circulating was when he was asked about comments regarding animation and Disney Plus and how he feels about the future of streaming services, he mentioned, well, a lot of people took it wrong, which I'm sure Nathan is going to touch on, but he basically said that I always say that when our fans and our audiences put their kids to bed at night after watching Pinocchio or Dumbo or Little Mermaid, they're probably not going to tune in into another animated movie. Adults want something for them. It did not go well. So that was just one of the big highlights, but I know you wanted to mention something about that.
So he said this, and every anime nerd in the world went all over his ass. And my thing is, he is not wrong. The majority of parents don't watch animated material after. I don't agree with the idea that I think there is a long history of industry types equating animation with children's entertainment exclusively. And anytime that kind of gets brought up, everyone's saddle suddenly gets a burr in it and is like, that's not the case. And I completely agree. It's absolutely not the case. But he's not trying to make that point here. He's just saying that they want material that they can watch that they wouldn't watch with their child. Now, does he say that correctly? No, because he's an idiot and he's terrible at this. But that is what his intention is. And I was kind of annoyed that this became the lead story because he has so much dumb shit to say about park capacity and other stuff, which I'm sure you're about to say, that's far more interesting.
So,
really bad at speaking.
I know, I just feel like maybe one or two, like, public speaking classes at his local, community college. Like, you could shape, like, you work for, like, a company that's literally about to celebrate his 100th birthday, and you don't know how to speak clearly on what you're actually saying.
The irony is 9 times out of 10, the media training at companies like this, I've been through it. The media training in these places is nuts. Yeah. And so it feels to me like it's a little off the range. Like he's Or he's
that bad at it. He took that so much training and he's that bad. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's
but don't worry, it gets better. We still have to talk about the parks. So for those who don't know, if you don't listen to us, and in which case I don't know what you're doing with your life, but Disneyland and Disney World are currently being sued for their parks reservation system. Now, Shapehead was asked about this, and he basically made a dig at, I guess, some naysayers and said that we call the reservation system heresy or whatever about that, but expressed and just stayed on the fact that it is beneficial to the company and capacity and making sure they can control the amount of people that can come in and who they can service and X, Y, and Z, and they don't want to turn away people from the gates. If that's the hole you want to die on, I guess. I mean,
yeah, but of course he completely confuses the definition of what park capacity is. Because
we've ever gotten a clear definition of what exactly that is.
Well, and they keep talking about like they want to have the maximum amount of guests that can handle and provide a magical experience. And my question is, okay, your parks have always had capacity and you rarely hit capacity, and you were able to in the past still have a magical experience. Now, I'll be the first to admit that there are more people going to Disney now than there were in the 90s. That's just clear.
That's just a fact.
Yeah. And you have to do something about that. And I'm the weird one. I have no issue with the park reservation system, not at all. I think it can be flexible enough to allow AP in. You can have enough of a pool left over to make that happen. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I've never had trouble really getting into the parks when I want to. And guess what? I live here. If I can't go one day, I'll go another. It's not a big deal. But that said, it's not this idea that the system has been put in place to guarantee fairness because we don't want the family in Wisconsin to show up at the door and like not be able to get in. Bitch, who is this family from Wisconsin and why are they so terrible at this?
Wait, we're in Wisconsin now?
I don't know where they were from.
Denver?
I thought it said Denver.
Whatever.
Denver's where the money at is, Nathan.
That's true. Yeah, Denver would take care of it.
The family from Denver and the family from Wisconsin are two different type
Yeah.
of people.
demographics and markets.
And
Wow.
the thing is I still don't know why they have ticket booths.
Yeah.
You see every day, every time you go,
Right,
there's
what's the
people.
point of that?
There are people up there getting tickets for the day, and I'm like, first of all, stop doing that. If they can't
You know
find
what?
someone to
You
ask
know-
for a ticket, they can't get a ticket.
Yeah, you know why? Because Redbox still exists.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
think
Sure.
about it, right? Like,
Mhm.
yes, it's easy for like I still to this day will occasionally walk into Starbucks with my pre-mobile ordered or ready to pick up and get the stink eye from people waiting in line because they just
Yeah.
don't get it. They just don't
Yes.
understand.
Yeah.
And so
Or they don't want to do it, which is at that point a choice.
right.
Yeah.
And then
And-
the other dirty little secret of a place like Walt Disney World, it's easy for us as multiple, pass holders and people that go all the time to think that that everybody that goes a lot.
Yes.
The
Sure.
dirty little secret is most of the people who go for extended vacations there go once in like every 10 years.
Yeah.
It's
totally.
not a yearly thing. And so
Right.
so the people that are going now probably have not been since the early aughts, and
Mhm.
so it's like I'm of two minds. I'm of like, I want the audience to evolve, right? The Starbucks is a perfect model for that. Like I love ordering on my Starbucks app because I don't have to interface with another human. I love pay at the pump because I'm
Can-
in and
What a
out,
mood.
right?
Can I just for one sec? I have had this story in my heart for a week, and I have had no one to tell it. I thought I probably should just tell it on a public podcast. So now and then I'll be coming home from work. I have a bit of a commute, and it's I need Starbucks at the end of the day kind of day. I need a treat, so I don't crash this car into the side of a cliff, or whatever. So the I ordered online, and I timed it. I used everything right, and I said, okay, I'm gonna hit this button and it will be ready by the time I get to the door. It should be close, right? And so I did it, and I landed, I parked, I went into the Starbucks. I don't know why I did this. I did a spin at the door. I opened the door and I just did a little twirl. I was feeling flourishy, and my drink got sat down in front of me at the exact moment, and I picked it up and I walked out, and I felt like a god. I felt like this is the perfect, like I ordered, I parked, I went in, I did a twirl, they basically put it in my hand, and I walked out, and I was like, I feel so powerful in this moment. I have no one to tell that
Like
story
no
to.
one can
It's-
touch me.
No,
You were
No
like
one
the
can touch me.
beginning of every rom-com sitcom where they show this guy's perfect life. You're
Yeah,
that
right. It
person.
It happened.
no,
It
it-
That's
happened.
main
Specifically
character
Hallmark
energy.
though.
That is a mood.
Specifically
That is a
Hallmark.
1000% mood. And so
Yeah.
like I love those moments.
Uh-huh.
And I'm less upset about the reservation system. Yes,
Yeah.
it's nice to be able to just stroll over to the park and go whenever I want. But the truth of the matter is the business they've built in the last 25, 30 years, it has
Mhm.
made that untenable, right? And for a couple of reasons. They have given away the gate, the prices of tickets and passes. They just discounted too much in the early aughts, and so they created an audience that will just go in like a mall, right? And that's what. And I'm not criticizing that audience. That's the market they created, and so
That is true.
And they
had-
needed that market during the recession.
And
They
they
desperately
did.
needed those people. Yeah.
desperately needed. And so now coming out the other end of that, they have this audience that loves dropping in on any time. And so I do miss that part, but I'll deal with reservations and checking last minute and things. And hey, I wonder if I can get a reservation today. Like I'm fine with that. It's the Genie Plus that I have a problem with
Yeah.
Because-
Genie Pluses. They
because
just keep
they raised the
adding
price
onto
and
their monster.
they raised the price and then 10 days later raised it another $10. Like it's nearly $30 now.
No, it is. It's
No, it is
$30.
$30.
It peaked
No, it's
at
$30 now.
At Disneyland.
Like
it
last
peaked
week,
at-
I think.
Yeah.
It's just that part of it is like I'll deal with the reservations and all that. Just make it Max Pass again, or Max Pass was the best sort of amalgam of a digital system
Max Pass.
in the original. It was
was
great. It worked
really
really well out
perfect.
here. Yeah,
And
yeah.
I will say, as I took my family for the first time last summer, like they've never been to Disney, they don't know how any of it works. If I
Mhm.
wasn't around and they went by themselves, they would have had
Oh, they
no
would have been
idea.
lost.
Yeah.
It would have one of
Yeah.
been lost, and two, they wouldn't even know how to get into the parks because
Yeah.
tickets are now on your phone. Tickets are like Magic Band. I have to get everybody Magic Band because I'm like,
Yeah.
It's just easier. But then again, you're paying more
Yeah.
for the ease of things, and it's not even easier.
I guess
It's
that's
I will
why.
really
say,
not.
Oh, we're all
I will
excited.
say
Go ahead,
it,
Dave.
I was going to say, I will say it's the reason I very reluctantly held my nose and got my magic key again this year. I know that sounds privileged and snobby, but
It is,
the
but it's
reason
okay.
it
I did
is,
it
but
when I
the
did
reason,
too.
but yeah, the reason I did it was because I always have a lot of friends coming into town to go to
Yep.
Disneyland,
Yep.
and I have quite a number of friends I know coming up in the next year who have never been, and I'm like, they will have a terrible time if I'm not with them. They will have an
Yeah.
absolute, abjectly, terrible time.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, this is my duty to try to make this better.
Mhm.
I'll take that bullet. I'll be the martyr and
Yeah.
take them to Disneyland. But it's like, but it's true. It's you're so right. Like if you are not a regular or somebody who is a power user on your phone for all kinds of commerce and shopping, or scheduling or any of that, how to set your notifications, even stuff like that on your phone. If you're not into that, Disneyland and Disney World are difficult.
Oh, it's gonna be a miserable for you.
Well, last
It's
time
very
I
hard.
went back when Galaxy's Edge still had the virtual queue
Yeah.
for Rise, there was this sweet old lady who goes, I don't know how to get it. And she showed me her flip phone. And I said,
Oh
oh,
no.
because she goes, I'm here with my grandkids and they really want to ride this ride, but I don't know how to get on this
Honey.
ride. And I was like, I don't know how to tell you that you can't if you
Yeah.
have your flip phone.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think the experienced team can help them. Like they would
Sure.
have to give them like a paper one, but that's kind of part of it too, because it kind of ages out certain demographics. Like I've seen an elderly couple turned away from the
Mhm.
gate because they didn't know they had
Yeah.
to make a reservation. But
And it's hard. I'm not saying there's an easy answer, and clearly there's not. But
and there's not.
But there's some
No.
things we can attest to. And one of the things we can attest to is, and something that Kevin Perger brings up on Twitter when he was discussing this, which is this reservation system allows them to pay less cast members, have a
Mhm.
smaller amount, and then say, oh, we're just a magical experience. We can only have that many people. We're going to charge you more. Like, the demand is so high. This is what Bob Chapek has said so long now. It's like, it's this abuser
Mhm.
mentality of like, it's not my fault that you're having a bad time. It's your fault because you keep showing up. And we're just going to keep raising prices because, look, I mean, it's the same. They always do this kind of stuff, right? We made more profit this year than last year. No, you didn't. You charged everybody more. You didn't that's not organic
Like, you didn't do-
profit.
It's not.
And the general public, I think, is waking up to that idea because I'm seeing less and less the argument that the reservation system is for crowd control, right? I keep seeing people say, no, it's because they want to hire or not hire or like place the least amount of CMs that they have possible to do it. And that's
Yes,
the
I've heard
argument.
this as well.
I keep seeing it more and more. And I'm like, now you're just losing the smoke and mirrors that you had about crowd control. You're losing that. So where are you going to go from here?
And the chink in the armor also is the recent announcements from Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Resort, where they are seeing record profits and they are not raising prices, but in order to maintain a good experience because of the influx of people that are coming, they are lowering their capacity limit.
Yeah. And now this is very recent. Now charging if you want a seat at their nighttime show.
Right.
I did see that this morning,
I
think that's very smart.
Which makes sense. It's because people there like camp out. You put your tatami mat down at like 2 in the afternoon for a 9 o'clock show.
Honestly, I feel like if they utilize the virtual queue system for the shows in that way, it would be a great way to spread out the crowds too.
Yeah.
You also can't buy a ticket at the ticket booths anymore at TDR. The ticket booths are completely closed.
Yeah.
It's all digital, and you can't buy a multi-day ticket anymore. They are single-day tickets or nothing. No annual passes right now at all. Yeah. So it's like, and they are making money hand over fist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even then, the AP, who would have been the AP, it's a cheap enough ticket.
Yeah.
And you're getting
it wouldn't
$60.
make a difference.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a good enough experience that you're kind of like,
for the amount of
once
times
a month.
For the amount of times I went on my Magic Key to Disneyland last year, I could have gone the equivalent number of times or more to Tokyo Disney Resort on single day tickets.
Yeah.
Like that's the financial truth right there.
Yeah.
I will say,
go ahead.
I will say something about going back to Bob Chapek and Chapek. I mean, and
No,
the
you said it
interview-
right the first time.
Did I?
Chapstick.
Okay.
Chapstick.
I'm an ESL kid. I don't know how to pronounce anything. Bobby Chapstick.
Yeah.
He made this comment that really like stuck with me, and I understand that we are a very niche nerdy group and that not everybody is into the business side as we are, but he said if you were a Disney fan, you don't really care about the organizational structure of the company. And I said, you were just not aware. You were not aware of the like I begrudgingly sat through this half-hour interview just to make sure I didn't take things out of context and things of that sort. But I was like, just that small little snippet, I said, that's enough. I don't want to listen to anymore.
That kind of irritates me because a good chunk of his fan base were former cast members
and
that's
our
why they're
shareholders.
fans. And shareholders.
And dating back to the original Disneyland television show where Walt himself would talk to the public, like you couldn't be more wrong. The company and the parks have literally been built on the personalities of the organizing structure. That's literally how Walt sold it. Like, oh, that's so infuriating.
And Eisner understood
trying-
that. Yeah.
He was trying
Eisner
to play it
understood
off.
it. Yeah.
He was really trying to play it off because he's like, we had all of these different silos and now I just turned it into two, the parks and physical aspect, and then the studios and the animation aspect. And I'm like, I don't think that's a good thing that you.
I mean, I guess he's trying to make it sound like he consolidated. And like, I guess, I again, going back to the issue where I kind of get what he's trying to say, but he just fries it. Like he does not know how to say what he actually means.
Yeah, every time. Anyway, we could spend all day talking about Bob Chapek's interview, but we should probably move on.
I'm calling him Bob Chapstick from now on. Thank you. Itzy.
Yeah, Bobby.
I'm calling him Bobby Chapstick.
Bobby Chapstick.
Bobby
My two favorite people, Bobby Chapstick and Little Arthur.
That's going to be an animated. That's going to be like Calvin and Hobbes, like little drawings of them
Bobby Chapstick,
going through the parks. Yeah.
This is my call to action to anybody who knows how to animate. Please make that happen.
Yes, Bobby Chapstick and Arturito. Please make that a thing. Make that a shirt.
Yes,
please. We were contact me, artists. We'll sell it on our T Public. Dave, we should talk a little bit about two sort of transitionary things. We have a passing of a legend and a retirement of a big influence in Disney as well. Let's start with our passing. Imagineering legend Alice Davis has passed away. Alice, of course, as many know, was the fully and 100% an Imagineer in her own right. But she was also, of course, the wife and always collaborator of her husband, Mark Davis, in his work. She, was toe to toe with every legendary Imagineer you can imagine, and she passed away at, I believe was it 93?
93. What a life, right?
So
what
you have some Alice Davis stories, right?
Well, yeah, and very minor. I got the chance to meet her a couple of times years ago in the 90s at what the Herb Ryman show. It was like an art show that Imagineering used to put on, and it was mostly Imagineer's personal artwork on display and for sale. I actually have a couple of that I bought over the years.
Cool.
And it would fund the Ryman Institute's programs for young artists. So it was a very cool little charity thing. But I went in the 90s and I met like John Hench and Mark and Alice Davis and Mark Davis, and like as a starry-eyed 20-something just getting into the industry, it was like anime eyes walking around meeting all these people, and they're all really great. They're all exactly kind of the characters that you've seen, that you've heard about in terms of their biographies, and people have written about them before. My friend Chris Merritt wrote the big if you've not bought or seen, Disney fans, the 2-volume Mark Davis coffee table book set. You owe it to yourself to put it on your Christmas list. It is so lovely, and it is the most exhaustive research on Mark and Alice
Chris and Pete Docter, right?
Pete Docter from Pixar helped with it as well. Anyway, and Chris was a Imagineer in his own right for many years. So, but anyway, he is the one that introduced me to Alice at a couple of events like this, and he did all of the interviews with her. He's got all these oral histories with her for years, and Mark as well. But so they Mark and Alice met while he was teaching an animation course at Chouinard here, Art Institute here in California, and they didn't start dating then. It wasn't until she was working at Imagineering, and she was brought in as a costume assistant for Mary Blair
Yeah.
for the dolls in It's a Small World. And so she did costumes on some of your favorite attractions, that and Pirates, and in the midst of that also became Mark Davis's wife, but was an incredible Imagineer and an incredible personality herself, and carried on Mark's legacy after his death in 2000, right, is when I think.
I believe
I want to
so.
say like 2000, 2001, I think.
Yeah. And so if you
2000.
don't, yeah, if you
2000. Okay.
if you don't know her, look her up. She is a Disney legend. She was inducted in 2004. She has a window on Main Street in Disneyland that was put there in 2012, right next to Mark's window, which is very sweet. But she was a powerhouse, and we don't hear about from that era, especially. We don't hear enough about the female Imagineers and their contributions. We all know, Mary Blair, but Alice is absolutely right there with her, and Harriet B. and all the other incredible talent that started there and continues to work there. She's a shining star of creating things that we love, and she's a big component of why we love them. Look at the design of those dolls in Small World, the way that each one of them distills down a national culture into a very simplified silhouette, a simplified color palette that a kid can understand. That's genius level design, right? So it's sad that she's gone, but 93 is a hell of a run.
Yeah.
And what a legacy to leave behind.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's one of the last. I mean, we have.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain she's like one of like 3, I think.
There's not many left. I'm trying to think who's still with us from that
Bob
original.
Gurr.
Bob with
Gurr.
us.
Protect that man.
Which
protect him.
it must be protected at all costs. Off the record.
Oh, Julie Andrews too. Well, not an Imagineer, but
Not an Imagineer,
very important to the company.
Like a Disney legend.
Off the recording, I will tell you my story of meeting Bob Gurr, which is
I'm always for secret Bob Gurr stories,
which is
so good.
PG-13, and it's fantastic. You'll love it.
Lovely.
Anyone who wants to know, just write to me and I'll tell you. He's
No, you gotta subscribe to our Patreon.
Oh, there.
Patreon, right? Our Patreon for Rat Castle After Dark.
Yeah.
It could be a TikTok.
Yeah, no, it's nothing. It's not a bad story about Bob. He's amazing. He's a wonderful man as well. And I've had the distinct pleasure of having a number of cocktails with him, Gertinis, he calls them.
Yep.
At his house, sitting in a Mr. Toad's car that is in his living room. So I'm a very lucky boy that way. But yeah, she's one of the last, and deserves raise a toast to her next time you go to one of the parks and ride through, especially original Disneyland's Small World, because that is her work.
Yeah, she's awesome. And then of course we have a retirement over at Disney. Bob Weiss, or is it Weiss or Weiss? I want to get it
Weiss.
right.
I want to say it's Weiss.
Bob Weiss is retired after 42 years with the company. And from what you've told us, Dave, he's a pretty good egg.
He is a stand-up guy, and one of those people at Imagineering. I've never worked for him personally, because I've never actually worked at Imagineering. I've consulted for them on the side occasionally, but all my friends that have worked for him, he's one of those universally liked guys. He's just a stand-up guy. In addition to being amazingly talented, is an incredible team leader. It amplifies voices all around him. I've just heard nothing but glowing praise for him upon this announcement that he's leaving. He got 2 years ago, he got the TEA Lifetime Achievement Award. Very, very well deserved. And he's one of the few Imagineers. There's only a handful that are folks who worked in the park, right? He's a generation who was studying architecture at Cal Poly Pomona, which is not far from Disneyland, and he worked in the park as a cast member selling popcorn and ice cream, and he says, he tells stories about taking that job because in architecture, that is a case study. Disneyland is a case study of how architecture can affect you emotionally, how it can influence your choices, how it can move you around a space. And so he really went there academically to work there. And that led to a call from Imagineering in 1980. And after getting out of college, and within a year, he was working in Japan on Tokyo Disneyland. And then, so Tokyo Disneyland, Hollywood Studios, Tokyo Disney Sea, California Adventure version 1, Shanghai Disney. I mean, his portfolio is incredible and his work speaks for itself. But if you get a chance to watch the Imagineering story or any of the interviews with him online, he's this incredibly soft-spoken guy who, when he talks about his work, he doesn't talk about his work. He talks about everybody else's work. Do you know what I mean? He's that kind of guy. When he talks about Imagineering, he talks about the wealth of talent and knowledge and spirit and human beings there. And his role is to keep those plates spinning, right? And that's the sign of a good leader. He is a creative guy, but he just, when you hear him talk about his work in Imagineering, it is praise and love and respect for everybody who's ever worked with or for him. And to me, that is the mark of a Disney legend right there.
It's fascinating because we're talking about first waves are passing away, second waves are retiring. We've had a couple second waves retire recently, and Disney's sort of on their third wave, maybe their fourth almost at this point. But it's interesting to see that transition. And there's always there was the group that created everything, and then there was the group that was there at the start when they were kids and ended up being CMs, and some of that still lasts, but it's just interesting. It's interesting, the lineage of some of these people, and we wish Bob all the best. Enjoy your retirement, sir.
Absolutely, Bob.
Can't wait to see what the new generation brings.
Yes, please. Just give them money, for Christ's sake.
Please.
All right, we're going to be moving on to our next segment, which of course is Disney Film and TV, and something I'm very excited about, which is that Disney is set to release on Disney Plus the new season coming up of Doctor Who. And not only that, they are giving financial backing to the BBC to make Doctor Who even slicker. This is very exciting for me. This is the return of Russell T Davies as the showrunner. He showrunned for the 9th and 10th Doctor when the show was rebooted. And the new Doctor is Ncuti Gatwa, who will be the first Black Doctor. I don't know if I don't know if the Doctor's going to be gay, but Ncuti certainly is, and he's in the show Sex Education. You might know him from that. And then there is going to be a trans companion, which is amazing. So it's interesting. It's very awesome to see Disney kind of put some money into this franchise. I have always been interested in what Disney could do with this franchise. And this feels like a relationship Disney wants to continue to foster. This seems like a good IP to have. It's a family-friendly property with a huge fan base, and a show that is currently looking to kind of integrate itself into American culture. It got really big for a while, and then they had a couple Doctor reincarnations that kind of fell flat. I'll be the first to admit I didn't even finish the last couple seasons. It was just kind of miserable.
It was like pulling teeth, to be honest.
It was rough, and no shade to the actress who was playing the Doctor at the time. It was just Chris Chibnall did not do a good job with the show. We ended up watching the Regeneration episode. We just sort of said, screw it, we're just going to go to the end. So I'm all caught up and I'm excited. What's funny about this relationship is I always thought that it should be Universal that picked up and worked with Doctor Who. I was at Terminator 2 3D ages ago, and they had Doctor Who merchandise in the gift shop because it was like, you like time stuff? Like, here's some Back to the Future, here's some Doctor Who, here's some Terminator. And I thought, oh gosh, this is a property Universal should pick up on. So funnily enough, Dave, this is before I ever knew you. I wanted to replace your ride with Doctor Who.
Not awkward.
Only because it is pretty close to the London cityscape. And I thought, okay, you could if you wanted to kind of keep that going and make it a unit warehouse or something, and have the Doctor, you go into the TARDIS and then of course it makes sense. Everyone's got sonic screwdrivers and you shoot at Daleks and Cybermen, right? You keep the system the same.
Right.
But anyway,
Yeah, and instead of guns, you've got the sonic screwdrivers at every seat, you know.
yeah, and I always thought a rotating animatronic of who the Doctor is at the time, so you could always shift.
Oh,
that
that's
and change
funny.
Yeah,
That's funny.
I have a Doctor Who question.
Sure,
Yeah.
of course, I have an answer.
Everything I know about Doctor Who came from Tumblr. Like I know if I say super cool, people will shudder. But was
Don't
it
worry, we're all
ever,
going
like,
back to Tumblr apparently from what Twitter's telling me.
Oh, it always comes back to Tumblr with me.
Yeah.
Did it ever like air on American like news networks, or was it always just
no.
BBC and you'd have to like stream it from somewhere?
It showed on PBS here when I was
Yeah,
a
it showed
kid.
on
In the
PBS
70s,
for
yeah.
me.
Like my education in all things like Monty Python, Doctor Who, Are You Being Served?
Yeah.
You know, all the British sitcoms and things. All that was from PBS before cable TV.
Mhm.
But again, there it's like, you know, my fringy weird little friends in junior high who loved Monty Python. We all loved Doctor Who at the time, but nobody mainstream, nobody knew it because only the weird kids watched it. You know,
it became known to me when I was in high school because there was like a British explosion of media coming up again, and I remember going and like walking past the Journeys or what's the other one, Spencer's and a Hot Topic, and I would just always see Doctor Who stuff.
Yeah, when they rebooted the show, and that was when BBC America started to play it.
Okay,
so it's a premium cable channel, but it was around, and it was sort of that plus streaming rights because BBC was sort of like whoever wants it can showcase. So the old show isn't really like I love a lot of the actors in the old show, and I desperately tried to watch seasons, and it's just it's really long, and it's just like
the old show is
hours.
Yeah, the old show's rough.
It's real rough. And the new stuff's great. Some of it looks like screensaver graphics, the really early Christopher Eccleston season and the David Tennant ones, but it's still charming as all get out. So
I just always assumed it already had a property attached to it. So when I saw that Disney Plus, it was coming to Disney Plus, I was super shocked and super confused.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to have any of the old stuff. I think what BBC wants and Disney wants is to be able to say, like, if you're coming in, you can come in fresh. we're not gonna have 20 seasons or whatever behind this on Disney Plus. It's just gonna start here.
So is it going to be on? Is this a BBC co-production that will be on BBC and Disney Plus?
Yes, BBC. This is what's really interesting. BBC will play it per normal, and BBC will have it on its iPlayer. Yeah. And then internationally, every other market, Disney has owned the rights
Disney.
To.
That's pretty spectacular. That's huge.
That's
I also love that you said, and at first I sort of bristled, but you're kind of right when you said it's family friendly because it is. I mean, it is. It's also freaky. And I remember as a kid, there was a couple of episodes of some of the various aliens that were really profoundly like scarred in my brain, scary, but in that good way that you kind of want as a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's old school to say British kids, every one of them hid behind the couch just because of Cybermen and Daleks and stuff. Yeah.
If I had seen Blink when I was 12 or 13 years old, I would have lost my mind.
Which one is the one with
Blink,
the statues?
That's Blink.
That's the one.
Is it? I only know that.
Blink.
I only know about that from gift sets, and me being the biggest baby alive, I had nightmares about it, and I don't even know what it was. I just saw the gift sets, and it freaked me out.
Freaky.
It's one of the few episodes where you see the Doctor get scared. Like he's so the Doctor is so unflappable normally, but even in that one, he's like, whatever you do, you know, you should watch the whole episode. It's a great, actually, it's funny. That's a really great onboarding episode for people.
100%.
I've said, watch that one. You'll understand what this show is.
Yeah, and it's isolated. There's no companion or anything. It's a separate episode. It's great, and if you really want Itzy, you'd really get into it if you wanted to dive in. I can guarantee
that one. And another thing that also really intrigued me was the Van Gogh episode.
It's an excellent. It'll make you cry.
What
another one.
Good episode.
I've never seen the actual episode, but just seeing everybody talk about it online makes me weepy. Just thinking about it.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was one of those episodes like that made me so cry.
Yeah. So I already think that if Disney was really on their game, there'd be at least a blue police box at the UK Pavilion in Epcot. It doesn't make any sense. that should have
I
just
can
already
easily
happened.
see them like doing something in studios with that if they take something out. I mean, Indiana
Oh.
Jones could go, but you know.
Indiana Jones goes nowhere.
I said it, Nathan.
No.
Said it.
I've
No.
I've never seen that show.
Oh, Itzy, you gotta see it. It's great. It's amazing.
I know.
But what do you guys think? What should be done? I don't think some people are already like, well, there was going to be a Mary Poppins ride at UK. That could be where a Doctor Who ride is. And it's like, first of all, that Mary Poppins ride was like a friggin' carousel. It was gonna be nothing. So
True.
no.
I still
But
wanted it though.
Dude,
my thing with Epcot is now officially like bring in IPs, because if they don't, like, they just do stereotype stuff, and there's nothing
It's
more
nothing.
stereotypical than being like, what's Britain? Doctor Who. Let's just put a Doctor Who right. Like, it's just so
Yeah,
cliche.
yeah.
But I think Studios is a
Yeah.
great place. I think Studios makes a lot of sense to me too. Or Tomorrowland. I think Tomorrowland makes a ton of sense.
Alien
I mean, make
Encounter,
it all-
Stitches Encounter.
True.
I'm telling ya.
Perfect.
I mean, the
perfect
room is
space.
even the right shape. So
It really is.
Yep.
to be in the TARDIS.
My
yeah.
deep vision is you start at Unit. Unit is the shield of Doctor Who, is the best way to explain it. They are the
Yeah.
agency, and the whole queue is in Unit. And then in the pre-show, we Pepper's Ghost in the TARDIS dissolving into the room. But here's the key: it's not actually somehow. I don't know the engineering of this, but you actually then go through the TARDIS. So you go into the TARDIS, and then it becomes the rest of the queue, and you go through the queue until you get on whatever you need to get on. Or the TARDIS takes you to the next place that you need to go, or whatever. I just, there's so much you could do with it. The only problem with the show, of course, is the Doctor changes, the main character, the actor changes every 3 seasons basically at this point. So you have to sort of, they've done exhibitions and stuff of Doctor Who, and every
Yeah.
time they've made it all like video content with the Doctor, because they can flip it out if they need to without much issue.
Yeah.
So that's tricky. You don't want to like spend thousands of dollars on a David Tennant animatronic and then be like, does Matt Smith's face fit on this? I don't know. So it's tricky, but I don't know. I think
I mean, you can always make it like a experience. You don't have to necessarily meet the
Yeah,
doctor,
that's-
but you know, you can go through like the TARDIS or
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think a ride works unless it's a slow moving dark
Yeah,
ride of
that's-
some sort.
that's what
and
I
you
was
come-
thinking. Like,
And
it
you
doesn't
come up
work.
with, because so much of them are very linear stories that loop back
Mhm.
on themselves and have weird timey-wimey wibbly wobbly stuff. But like it's like Alien of the Week, right? It's like
Yeah.
Threat of the Week story.
Usually.
Usually. And so it's like, your idea before of saying that it was a rumor to go into Terminator 2, did you say? Like, would be
They just had merch there.
Oh,
because it was
okay.
time travel merch basically, and that's what
I mean,
made me
a
think
show
of it.
with
show
live
works
actors.
great. Yeah.
A show works great with live actors, big aliens, big media, some sort of big scenic change like T2 3D did.
Yeah.
I think that would actually be really awesome, because you can both be in the TARDIS and be somewhere else.
Right, but I also think in my brain, if I look at the trackless vehicles in Rise, and you put Dalek dots on them, and you say you're captured by Daleks, and then the Doctor like takes control of that and takes you where you need to go. Like, you can do a trackless ride if I mean, that's basically ripping off Rise, but there are ways that I think that you can be a part of. It'd be very Cyberman heavy, very Dalek heavy.
Yeah,
Definitely
yeah.
a Weeping Angels moment maybe, but it's
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
a monster ride, and then you use the pre-show and all the other elements to bring in whatever Doctor's the newest Doctor, and then you can do something. I don't think Disney's gonna spend that kind of money, but I do think we're like, there should have already been a TARDIS. You can not even say it if you don't want to, Disney. It could just be a Blue Please box. But
I mean, I guess they could use that area, that one building in Disney Springs too. The one that used to be NBA Experience. I don't know what it is now. But
I mean, you could literally just bring over the old Doctor Who experience from
Hey,
Cardiff. It's never been in America.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
I
just
think that's
use all
probably
that space.
Yeah, that's probably like the easiest way to do it
Mhm.
at the entry and gauge reaction and popularity.
I always
Right.
thought the area should be like a museum type, like exhibition experience type of thing. So with like their
Mhm.
new
Yeah.
things, they can bring in like, look at all this stuff, the
Yeah.
behind the scenes stuff.
Well, and we were just talking about the Neon City Company. Like it's not big enough for
Mhm.
that kind of stuff, I don't think. But you're right. Like, it could be a traveling space for this kind of stuff. But who knows? Anyway, I'm excited. We'll see what happens. This is gonna be a long one. Let's go over to
You
Universal.
think?
let's go over to Universal. We have Woody better watch his back. Not the Woody we're used to, but Woody Woodpecker. And you know, his days are numbered, Victoria.
I was confused for a second. I was like, wait, how did we get to Toy Story?
Not
I was
that
so
Woody, the other Woody. The Woody.
You know,
Cue
Universal.
that video.
But wait, you were so good at your impressions for the Halloween episode. What happened?
Oh well, I didn't really try there. So
Cue
let's
that
see.
video of Britney Spears doing the Woody Woodpecker laugh.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. And again,
Yeah.
But what person under 30 knows what the hell Woody Woodpecker is? Like,
Or
That's what we're gonna
Feifel?
get into.
Or Feifel.
So-
Feifel. Well, but you know, but there's enough of y'all who grew up with the American
true.
Tail movies.
Feifel.
But
That
it's
you
not
for
gonna
reals.
work anymore.
And
Mm-mm.
no, yeah, like you'll
Universal
bring your
isn't really
kids
for the
to it.
kids. Like
Right,
Universal
right.
isn't for the kids, and that's its problem. It's not
Mhm.
really family friendly entirely.
Well, that park has struggled all the time with that, right? It's why
Yeah.
you have this mismatch of E.T. and Fievel and Barney and Curious George, and right, like I was there during a bunch of that, during Curious George and Woody Woodpecker and Barney and all that stuff being added, and it was exactly that. It was like we need to be more kid friendly, and then you had the other issue of them not really having any good kid brands of their own, which is why they
Yeah.
went with Curious George and Barney. Those are just, you know,
And sort of a
licenses.
Nickelodeon thing. Once Paramount was
Yeah.
out,
Yeah, I got in
kinda
there.
grabbed.
Yeah, but like
Oh, but I guess
Like
I should
the-
explain what's going on.
Yeah, we still want
Woody
to start
Wood-
there.
Yeah.
I just realized we never. So Universal did what no one thought they were gonna do. They're getting rid of a good chunk of Kid Zone. So this includes Feifel's Playland, Woody Woodwhacker,
Woody Woodwhacker.
Woodwhacker.
Woody Woodwhacker.
It's a tongue tire, damn it.
What's
Woodpecker's
Woody
Nut House.
Woodwhacker do?
I want
I
to
mean-
know.
Well, I guess.
That's a whole different section.
Yeah, his laugh would be more like like way down low.
Oh, Woody
Children,
Woodwhacker.
please. Let's be
Hey,
kind.
I'm
kids.
never gonna let you let that one down. That's never happening.
Curious George goes
Any
to
of our
town.
fans who are artists, please draw that.
No, don't.
Woody, please
No,
draw
No,
that.
don't do that.
Well, if you do put it on Tumblr, they won't take it down.
Yeah,
on
right,
Tumblr.
right.
It's not his
Whoa,
nose that's
back
long
to
and sharp.
Tumblr.
Jesus, we're so childish. So,
Go ahead.
Woody Woodpecker's Nut House Coaster. Curious George goes to town, DreamWorks Destination, and Shrek and Donkey's meet and greet are gone. They're done.
Yeah.
They've been given their eviction notice. The last day it'll be January 15th, but everything else, like the SpongeBob store meet and greet, E.T.,
Especially E.T.
especially E.T., if you know, you know. And Kids Zone's Pizza Company will remain open. They're closing it to make more family-friendly attractions.
Is the animal show closing?
Yeah.
The animal show is, I believe, is closing as well.
Is closing as well. Okay. And
Oh no,
yeah,
the animal show is not closing. No, I'm
animal
sorry.
actor stage.
Yet.
Okay.
It's staying.
Yet. Well, yeah, it's not long for this world in Hollywood either, most likely. So, but like, yeah, it's a perfect example. Like they tried to flog Woody as the park mascot for dating back to Hollywood Park.
Yeah.
Like they just kept trying over and over and over again. They rebooted those cartoons in the 90s and he had sort of green eyes and he was a little extra lunatic. They were actually really funny if you watch them, but they
Mhm.
never clicked. They could never get him to work. So, you know, bye Woody, not a big loss.
Except
I mean, I feel like the
recently,
Woody thing.
recently there was a
movie.
there was a live action Woody Woodpecker movie made for Spanish audiences only. It was
Yeah.
in
Really?
Yeah.
Spanish.
I remember hearing a Woody Woodpecker movie, and I remember, like, I was just thinking right now, I'm like, well, when you said reboot, I thought you were going to talk about the movie. I didn't realize it was only in Spanish.
It's only in Spanish because there's certain, like he was huge in Spain,
Yes.
in Spanish speaking
Oh.
countries, but particularly in Spain.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
I'm
so,
pretty sure. I mean, they probably dubbed it for American audiences, but it is. If you look at the cast and everything, it's
I need to look this up.
it doesn't look. Yeah, like well, maybe it's not. I saw it in Spanish. When I saw it was being released, it did not look like it was an American production at all.
the speculation though, what's going to replace it is interesting, right? Because was originally where Super Mario Land was going to go, before Epic Universe the first plan for it was there. So
Mhm.
now everybody's like, what are they doing here? My vote is, I said DreamWorks, and everybody said, no, dragons, and that's Epic. And I said, well, no, Epic is only dragons and panda.
Yeah.
This could be Trolls, would be a perfect thing. Think of all the activities that are down
It already
now.
has
Like,
been. Trolls has been
oh,
meeting
and you
there
know what
for
I
like
read?
2 years.
Yeah.
But what I realized is Universal owns Cocomelon.
Oh,
Mm.
They could easily use Cocomelon.
don't do that. Don't speak that into
Don't-
existence.
No, don't do that. Do you not know
Look,
about
if
that?
I gotta
Dave?
listen to Cocomelon 8 hours a day, then you got to too. Cocomelon.
No, what is Cocomelon? What am I missing here?
The old gay man does not know
um,
about Cocomelon, ladies and
oh, I'm
gentlemen.
It's
It's like a
children's-
preschool
yeah.
CGI kind of show.
It's rough, man.
Oh, I literally just clicked on one and I'm watching it right now. Oh,
It's
how
not-
horrifying.
I like
Peas.
the watermelon
It's
boy.
time to eat your peas. Yes.
It is not good
It's time to
television.
eat our
No,
peas.
It is a living watermelon with antenna for a head. What is
I don't
going
like
on?
the boy.
No,
but I
that's
like
the
watermelon.
logo.
Oh, it's just the
That's the
logo.
lo-
It's
I
real
will
cheap
say-
ass animation. It
I
always
will
looks
say-
horrible.
But the kiddies
Oh.
eat that shit up.
The
Well, yeah,
skunk-
and that's the thing. Kids areas, you have to remember, have to be sort of two things. They have to be like, toddler and up, but they also have to be like toddler and below, which is what this is, right? That's what Barney was built for.
Yes, the
R.I.P.
scope of Cocomelon is
Barney.
really big. I will say that. I was in a Target once, and they have Cocomelon toys, and you know how like when you press like the hands, it makes a sound. You heard dun 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 dun, and like 5 people around me went Cocomelon like at the same time. So people know about Cocomelon. I just don't.
People eat Cocomelon up. Don't
They
sleep on
do.
Cocomelon. It's
Let me-
annoying.
I'm now going to
It's
send you
annoying.
all via Twitter an image I just found of
Oh, I'm scared.
Cocomelon live. So
There's
this
a
is,
live
Cocomelon
show?
live?
this is Cocomelon live. And Dave, if you didn't like the animation, maybe you'll like the.
Oh.
Exactly how I pictured it. That's exactly how I pictured it. PJ looked good.
Oh,
Why don't
So
they
you-
have his neck?
and Universal doesn't own it, but it airs on their Universal Kids network.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have a kids network?
But nobody knows this. Universal Kids, it's a thing.
Which Universal's very upset about. Believe
yeah,
me, if you know the industry, they've desperately tried to
they've
make
tried
this work.
over and over and over to
Oh,
make their
I'm
kids
sorry,
brands work.
Universal.
Is Universal and Discovery, are they two different? I can't remember what
Yeah.
They're two
Discovery has
different
bought.
things. Yeah.
Universal is Comcast. Universal
Yeah.
is owned
Okay.
by
Universal
Comcast
is
NBC.
Peacock. If you're
I'm
thinking of
like-
streaming, it's Peacock.
I'm in the era where I don't know which company has bought which company at this point.
Yeah.
Nobody does.
Nobody.
So I remember Discovery Kids being a thing. I don't think I've ever heard of Universal Kids.
It also airs on Cartoon Network's Cartoonito, which is their
I love Cartoonito. The
Cartoonito
kids
is their
love that
Is
shit.
that a new
little it's their little kids block.
It's their
It's
Nick
like
Jr.
their-
block.
Oh,
It's their Nick
Okay.
Jr. It's so cute.
So
I
anyway,
didn't know they had that.
So enough about
Uh,
Cartoonito.
what were we saying
Um,
about Woody Woodwhacker and what was going on here?
Well, I mean, obviously, if they take all those attractions, let's just start practical. If they take all those
Yeah.
attractions out, they have to replace that capacity. So
Mhm.
they've got a coaster, they've got technically that little water slide in the play area. kind of.
Yeah, splash pad.
And
Splash
Yeah.
pad. They've got the
Curious is George.
Curious
horse
George, that whole thing with the foam factory and back and the water play and character meet and greets. So my guess is they have to up the capacity a little, so it'll probably be it'll probably be a flat ride and a coaster, most likely.
I don't think they're going to get rid of that
Those-
coaster. I think they're just going to retheme
Just
that
gonna
coaster.
retheme it. I
What would be the point
1000%
of getting rid of it?
I 1000% agree. Yeah, there were some people saying they were going to put in Secret Life of Pets from California. I just
No.
think that's a big spend
No.
right now. That's not going to happen right now.
Mhm.
Also, I don't see them being able to do that unless they fix the size issue with the coaster,
Yes.
because that's a big thing. Like when I wrote it, I could barely really get.
Oh, no,
anything.
it's-
I'm only
and-
big thighed.
And you know why that happened, right? And Secret Life
No,
of Pets,
why?
why the restraints are so
Mm-mm.
inside baseball here. That ride system was made by a Japanese company that made the Yoshi
Ah.
ride for the Japanese audience. And in translating it for this,
Oh.
someone was asleep at the wheel. Somebody thought, oh, that ride system's already been proved out. We don't need an American team member on that for like operational or creative purposes. I'm sure I'm overspeaking it creatively they were because it had to make it look like a box. But the story I was
Sure.
told is that operationally there was a chain missing, link in the chain missing, and it was installed when they went, wait a minute, what? It's that you didn't change it from Japan, and evidently changing them because you have to change every single vehicle is getting them certified, yada yada yada. It's a big deal, and so it is a they know this is not a mistake they don't know about. This was not a decision they made. It's not a decision they made. It's a mistake.
It was just an accident.
It was literally, that's what I was told is, and I don't know this for sure. This is hearsay from friends who work there, that it was a mistake. So
that makes sense.
Which I kind of agree because I barely fit on it, and I'm like, I'm an average sized dad. If I want to ride with my kids, like,
or you can't ride with your kid if you
what?
If you're
Yeah,
too big.
And
this must be big enough for daddies and zaddies.
I'm putting that on a t-shirt.
There you go. So anyway, we don't know what's happening with the area yet, but Steven Spielberg's not going to burn Universal to the ground. E.T. remains. Thank God. I'm actually very happy about that. Yeah, I mean, I think this was a lot of wasted space, and I'm glad to see them try to up their game. We'll see what they do, but I agree. I think
it's something more immersive and cohesive. That's the big thing. It was just added onto.
Yep.
It was added onto in dribs and drabs of the years. It was never really cohesive. So the chance to say, here's a new thing, I think is actually really good.
Yeah. And I think that now that they've basically said the entrance to Universal Studios is Despicable Me, because it's going to be the two things at the very front. DreamWorks needs its own place. I think that whole place is going to be called DreamWorks something. I think that you can really make it a land.
What other brands? Trolls.
Oh, I mean,
Kung Fu Panda.
I'm blanking. Well, but that's at Epic. Epic is going to.
Yeah, that's where they're putting it.
I mean, Trolls. Shrek is still big. Shrek still needs a place to be. I don't think that meet and greet is over at all. I think they're just cutting it for now.
And that's what I was going to say, because they literally just made that, and DreamWorks Destination. They just made those things. They're not even a year old.
Yeah.
I was shocked to hear about the meet and greet for Shrek leaving, but if you're saying like they maybe just might relocate it.
I mean, I think it'll be done for a while, but it would be a shock to me if they don't bring that back. It's popular. People like
Shrek is their big. It's a big thing for them.
Yeah.
So to get rid of Shrek completely would be just, quite frankly, silly.
It's also a choice to get rid of it right now when like meme culture has brought Shrek back.
Yeah, it's our generation. I mean, it's Gen Z a little bit more, but like millennial generation, like Shrek was our thing, and now it's memed.
Thanks to TikTok, Gen Z is really into Shrek now. Like the amount of Shrek costumes, fairy godmother costumes I saw this Halloween. I've seen so many TikToks of people going to Universal just for the donkey.
Just for donkey.
Yes.
Yeah, it's wild. So I think they'll be back. Anyway, let's keep going on to our segment for tonight. Beware our guest. We have several things going on. Victoria, you got 2 for us, and Itzy's got 2 interesting things for us as well. Victoria, what's going on over at Animal Kingdom and with a certain intoxicated Woody Woodwhacker, intoxicated teenager.
So a teenager. Guys, don't drink and drive. First off, let's preface with that. Don't do that. It's not worth your safety or risking anybody else's safety or lives. That's me. That's me being an adult. Now I'm going to judge you. So, teenager was arrested for driving under the influence, sped towards the toll plaza at Animal Kingdom, and literally, like, just wow, way to go. So, essentially, pleaded not guilty to misdemeanor driving under the influence, was 19 years old. Shame on you. And there were other Disney visitors there, apparently. Apparently, this happened at like 8 a.m. I'm not sure when Animal Kingdom opens. But I'm like, first off, I have several questions. Why are you drunk at 8 a.m.?
Well, I mean, it says like he was coming back from the club, is what it says.
So he was probably out all night. Probably out all night.
That's my after club destination spot.
Right, like Kingdom. When I come from the club, I'm going to Taco Bell.
I'm going to Taco Bell or
Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
Or Denny's.
Or Denny's. Thank you. Yeah, right.
I'm gonna go experience Pandora.
Yeah, I gotta go see Vaco.
I gotta go see Vaco. But long story short, ended up with his car towed. He went to jail. He got trespassed from all Disney properties, and his court date is on the 7th of this month. So
he didn't even make it. Can you imagine getting trespassed and you didn't even trespass? You didn't even make it into the property.
Like you did all you like realistically, if he had just paid the fee.
Yeah, well, it's too bad he spent his time there slouching against his wheel and just laying there out like intoxicated.
But fortunately, I'm just glad no one got hurt. That's all that
true.
matters.
Absolutely.
And himself.
Yeah.
So yeah. Now this next one, I'm kind of impressed. I'm not even gonna lie. So a man snuck himself and his child into Magic Kingdom for free. So here's how it went down. 37-year-old, I'm not gonna say his name, Virginia resident.
I don't think you can because it's Romanian. It's a hard name to say.
I mean,
Baika Krisan, I would say.
Baika Krisan. I don't mind saying his name. The fool did it. So
it's in the news article.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, true. So him and his child made his way through the turnstiles at the front of Magic Kingdom. Didn't pay, didn't have an annual pass. They just waltzed right in like they owned it, like they were Walt Disney himself. And I kind of low-key am like, that's ballsy. And I kind of am impressed. But anywho, so security managers tried to stop him and wanted basically to explain himself or, show a ticket. Like, obviously you can't come in if you don't have a ticket. Pushed the manager out and just kept on walking. I'm like, okay, ballsy. We still being ballsy. Kept on following him.
Moving on.
Sir kept on waltzing right down Main Street, USA. Another person tried to stop him, pushed him out the way. He said he had places to go. He needed to see Michael Jerome Mouse. Like, he had places to go. So the two employees in question were not hurt. He did push him, but not hurt. But once they finally got him to stop, he pretended
like he kept
like
going
he
down Main Street. Like he just kept going.
Yeah,
he was a citizen of Main Street, and he was walking down it.
He was like diplomatic immunity,
sovereign citizen. So he got stopped, pretended he didn't know English, but in fact, he has a very good command of English.
They said about 2 hours later, he started speaking English just fine. Yeah,
he was over it after 2 hours of being questioned and just said, "Look, you got me." So, although I don't blame him because to bring him and his child in that day would have been $210.
Yeah, that's maybe Disney think about that a little. But
so he was arrested, took him to jail. I don't know what happened with the child. I'm assuming that he went to like
child jail.
He went to
he got the baby shackles that Grogu got in that one episode of The Mandalorian.
So
true fact though, if you can get through those turnstiles and run all the way to the castle before getting caught and yell sanctuary, you're good. They can't do anything about you. It's some sort of religious thing about the castle. You just gotta get through the sanctuary. Yeah.
No, this is not
sanctuary.
I'm not Christian. Is that gonna work for me?
You don't have to tell them that.
You right. You smart. Yeah. So long story short,
Victoria, you can accept Jesus in your heart anytime you want and then just renounce it later. Just if you need the sanctuary, just do it.
I mean, I do. I would like to stay in the castle suite. Does that mean I get to stay in the castle suite?
Yes, it does. 100%.
Are we talking are we talking Logan's Run Sanctuary, like Carousel, or are we talking? No one ever knows what I'm talking about. Okay, never mind. There is no sanctuary.
Yeah, those.
Talk about a movie I saw that movie far too young. I was like 7 years old, and
you were a little too curious about Michael York at that time.
I mean, if you haven't seen that movie, he invents Tinder. He like orders a lady on his mobile device, and she appears in a transporter to have sex with in his room in the first 5 minutes of the movie. And I'm like, Dad, why'd you bring me to this sci-fi sex movie? What is going on? Yeah,
it's
trippy.
Oh, no consent?
Logan. No. She was on the she's on the system looking. The dialogue is literally she's not a sex worker. No, it's like it's a future where you
booty
don't have
calls,
relationships.
Yeah,
booty calls are
I have not thought about Logan's Run beginning with the booty call, but you're absolutely correct.
I've never heard of this movie before.
This took such a turn.
He invented.
This went left so fast.
You're welcome. He invented the online booty call. Anyway, Logan's Run. It's a sci-fi movie and book from the 60s, sci-fi movie from the late 70s. fucked me up as a kid. It's awesome.
I'm kind
and
of
weird.
afraid to look this
Edward
up.
G.
I know.
Robinson.
It's great. It's
Right?
slow. Just know it's a
As-
70s. Just it's slow and methodical, but it's got some really neat ideas in it. And yeah, I saw it far too young. Anyway, moving on.
Victoria, we got another movie on our movie
Peter,
night list.
who's
I know, right?
I'm trying to think. It's not Edward G. Robinson who's in this. Who's the old guy? Is it Peter Ustinov? That's the old man.
It's Peter
Who?
Ustinov. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Peter Ustinov.
Yeah.
And all of his cats. He's like crazy cat guy. at the
Yeah.
end,
Anyway,
in
it's
the
a movie
nation's
about
capital.
after you're 35
It's-
or something, you die. Like they kill you. It's like
Amen.
yeah,
It's a
pretty much.
future
I
where
don't
no one is
disagree.
allowed. It's a future where no one is allowed to live past 30, and
Yeah.
it's this weird clean.
So my time is up.
Well, in the novel it was 21. Actually,
Yeah.
the novel it was 21. But anyway, it is a seminal sci-fi movie for me. So watch it because it's really weird.
Let
Almost
me guess. This was a
almost-
70s movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, almost remade with Ryan Gosling. So
Yes.
Oh.
still might happen. Who knows? But I
Yes.
don't know
This
if he's
had to
gonna.
be a movie from the 70s. 76.
Anyway,
Six.
Christ
Lord.
Almighty, we are just this is
Off
I'm
the
not,
rails.
Oh, I'm
We
not
are
editing
so
any of
bad
this, so-
today. Oh,
I
we
am
can't do Saturdays
so
again.
Sorry.
No,
It's
I
It's
don't.
not your
Itzy,
fault. That was
sorry.
on me. That one's
Itzy,
on me.
it's
That
not
one's
been
on
you.
me.
I went to
No.
Sanctuary. He went to Logan's Run. Victoria's been. You've been on good behavior for being the guest. It's been the rest of us. This has been the rest of us.
We're unhinged.
I've been fine, thank
This
you.
one's
Woody
a- this one's-
Woodwhacker says otherwise. Okay, so Itzy, you have to beware guests for us as well to sort of finish off the night. We have an interesting, one would say a little bit of an actiony segment, and then we got a little good soup song. It's just the best way to sort of end this night. A little tea. So start us off, Itzy. What you got?
All right. So the very first one, even though we're in Animal Kingdom, it's a very, very good example of it's a small world after all. Because
He's been working on that one. I can tell. That's good.
it's just right off the top of my noggin.
That's good.
So a fugitive from New York was arrested after the federal inspector who was working on his case and looking for him in New York spotted him while they were both vacationing at Orlando at the same time.
At the same theme park.
At
Not
the,
only
what
are
are the
they-
odds?
Exactly. Not only are they both at Orlando at the same time, they both got reservations, I'm assuming, for Animal Kingdom at the same day.
Truly an astronomical percentage of this
I want
possibly
to know
happening.
the odds.
It's
That's
crazy.
How many agents knew of his case and knew his face? That's the thing.
So
like that's
it's
crazy.
the reason he knew that this was like the fugitive he was looking for is because he's been working on this case. Now, should I say the name?
Of course,
know.
it's in the news.
Yeah, go
It's
for
in the
it.
Why you all act
news.
like this is like we're the breaking news? Like this podcast is going to release the name. Like it's on freaking CNN. We're fine.
Okay, so the fugitive is a man named Clashawn Burton. He's 31, and he was on the run for using fraudulent documents to obtain coronavirus relief aid. And not only that, he used multiple identities even while he was at Disney. So yeah, it was insane.
He lied to Mickey Mouse.
He lied to Michael Mouse.
You don't
Not
lie
Michael
to
Jerome.
Mikey.
No. not
Michael
Michael
Jerome Mouse.
Jerome. I love
No.
that. That's what we
Um,
adopted.
That was you, Victoria.
It was.
He stole nearly $150,000 in government loans.
Wow.
The inspector was involved with the
Ooh.
case. He signed the actual arrest warrant for this man, so he was like he knew his face. He knew he looked
Wow.
like he was very. It's insane that this is the man who managed to like see him because he knew him. Like
That is the
Where
worst luck
specifically
ever.
did he see him in Animal Kingdom? I gotta know. Was it in Pandora? We need to know.
he said, let me see if it says it. He'd been looking at the same day he sprang into action. He alerted security. So I don't think they were actually inside the park. It says something about a bus stop. He was
Well, they
arrested
stopped him
bus
at
stop.
the bus stop.
The stop. But I think they were inside, and I think he just saw him, so he alerted security.
Book him, Dano.
He was very hard to track down because of the fact that he kept using fake identities, and it says including his visit to Disney World. So he was still doing frauds. Still
Yeah,
doing some crimes.
they were in Animal Kingdom. It specifically says he recognized him at Animal Kingdom,
Animal
so they
Kingdom.
were in it. Yeah.
But he let them know that like he left the park. So he
Yes.
already left the park by the time he was with family members there.
Oh no, you done
Can you
ruined
imagine?
the baby's vacation.
You get
done-
you get sucked into a family Disney vacation and then you finally get caught.
And even
crazy.
through it all, even after he got caught, he was insisting like it wasn't him because you know he was using a different identity. He goes, "That's not my name.
That's not my name.
That's not
That's
my
not
name."
my name.
But that's crazy though. That like at the same time, at the same day, at the same park.
Look, I've
Okay.
not seen friends who I know at the parks and passed them. You know, like the fact that this guy is like got his radar on during vacation and sees this dude, like, and if you look at the
From New York.
yeah, and if
Like,
you look
they're
at the
not even from
picture
Florida.
of the guy, he looks. I mean, he has like I think a neck tattoo. Like there's, I think, kind of signifiers that if you know you gotta have in your head you're looking for. And I'm sure he's looked at several photos of this man throughout the weeks or whatever. But like, man, that's
Man,
just
if I'm on vacation, I'm on vacation. I'll see you
got
when I
my-
get back to the office.
yeah. But it's just like, man, he had to go back and do the paperwork in the resort.
I
you
know. I know.
Made more
Oh,
work for
man.
yourself on your vacation.
I bet
I
his
tell you what.
kids were like, "Dad, we're on vacation."
That's the coolest thing you can ever say, though. Like, so what's your good story about working? You know, I caught my fugitive at Disney World. It
That is some-
rules.
That is some cred.
Sivako,
That is some
bitch.
yeah.
Sivako.
That is,
Sivako.
Yeah.
Mawena.
Yeah.
Well, we're
Anyway,
getting to the good one, I guess.
so Animal
Okay.
Kingdom says no hunting, but at
Nope.
the same time, we got him.
We got him.
We got him. We did it, Joe.
We did it, Joe.
We did it, Joe.
Did it, Michael.
Speaking in relation, Itzy,
Oh,
finish us off
boy.
with some nice tea.
Ooh, this very last one is about our favorite person, friend of the show. In case you haven't picked up that sarcasm, Ron DeSantis, our favorite governor who loves Disney World so much.
Yes, he does.
It has been reported and found out that Ron DeSantis got married at Disney World, and not just at Disney World, at the not Californian. Whoa,
Grand
wrong coast.
Floridian, yeah.
Grand
Land
Floridian.
Floridian. Yo had peak Disney wedding.
And it was, quote, very elegant, unquote.
I mean,
Now, of course, he's going to say this was before Disney was woke. It's going to be his
yeah,
course he
right.
is.
thing. But what is more friggin' bougie than living in Florida and having your wedding at the Grand Flo?
Grand
Like it's so
Floridian.
bougie. But this bitch, I tell you what, coming out here,
the
laying it on-
audacity.
laying on
the
the well,
caucasity.
do you remember? Do you remember that one of his cronies also was like super Disney's woke and it was so like anti-Disney, and then they were like, "Bitch, you've taken like 5 Disney cruises and you're scheduled for one in like a week." Like
Yes.
this is all like this is a great example of listen, do what I say, not what I do when it comes to
Yeah,
politicians.
totally. Totally.
This
He
guy.
was all for Disney until Disney said, no, we're putting our foot down. And suddenly,
Like, you can't support the gays
But-
outwardly.
Here's the problem.
you
Can I
know
say-
what? Can I say something
Of
that's
course.
kind of shady? If
What
they
is the
listen
point
to-
of this? If not,
If they-
Accept
that?
all currency of shade here.
If they listened to the gays, she would have had a better wedding dress.
Oh,
She ain't got
oh.
no friends.
oh, look at that.
Oh, the truth.
Now I gotta
it
look at the
hurts.
dress.
The
I didn't
truth.
see the dress.
Oh no, she's
Because
right. The truth hurts real bad. I mean, yes, it was the 90s, but girl.
It looks so Jersey.
Wait, I gotta see this dress. I need it. I need
Yeah, I
this.
didn't know
I
God,
need
it's-
this in my
It's
spirit.
I love
on
you
the-
so much right now.
No,
The-
not 90s. They got married in 2009.
Oh, okay.
So
even,
maybe
even worse.
the Jersey Shore influence did it
All
really
right,
really
hold on.
step in.
Oh,
I'm looking at the dress.
the cut up here is terrible, and and the wrinkles are just.
It
What
looks like
what is the bodice? What is the
The
detail?
bodice is really bad.
it
It
looks
does
like a
not
prom
showcase
dress.
her. It looks like a prom dress.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I
The
also
hair
didn't
is
know
given
that
Jersey.
I didn't know that she used to be a news anchor. So this article really showed me a lot about
Yeah.
his life.
She
Yeah.
has a news anchor look, and
She does.
You know what? That's okay.
And
No,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with
Was
that.
he in the
No
Navy?
tea, no shade to our news anchor.
Was he in the Navy or
He was in
Marines? or what is-
JAG. He was
Was
a
he?
JAG guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, and
there's-
not
now,
only
now
that,
he's just
not-
a jag off.
Ah.
Not only did he get married at Grand Flow, he had his reception at Epcot.
Mm-mm. Don't ruin good things for me.
Oh.
I'm good.
The
No.
after the
I need to know
ceremony-
where. I need to
After
know
the
where.
ceremony, the guests moved to World Showcase, overlooking the signature Spaceship Earth Ball.
Okay, so the front there.
And it was at they had the reception at Italy Isola as a private island terrace was the location of the reception.
You know what ruins this for me is this means that Ronnie probably ruined the grand flow in his marital bed. Like, I just hate the idea of this man, like, ugh,
I say, though?
not in a good place like this.
Literally the caucasity of you. How dare
It's
you?
very on brand that his
It is.
reception out of everywhere at Epcot was
Yeah,
at the Italy Pavilion.
yeah.
It goes with
It's-
the Jersey look of her
Bland
dress.
and boring. It's very Italy.
It really goes with the Jersey look of her dress and of the time. I will say headcanon now, his wedding was inspired by Jersey Shore.
There we go. That's the new headcanon.
How did you know that I'm rewatching that currently?
Because
Oh,
everybody
no.
should be rewatching Jersey Shore. I
No,
will say that.
no. Do good things
Yes.
for your life. Don't. do
Where's
things-
the beach?
All right,
Jersey
anyway.
Shore and Glee. Everybody needs to watch that now.
Lord have mercy. Okay. We're gonna finish off real quick. Dave, you had a friend of yours give us a little shout out on Facebook, and you wanted to give him some shout out back, and I
Yes,
completely
we
agree.
did. We did. Hang on. I need to call it up. So we're gonna have an edit here. I thought I had it pulled
No,
up.
it's okay. It's your friend John. We're not gonna
John.
edit this. I'm not
John
gonna do
Fritz.
that.
John is an old friend who was a very early listener of the show and continues to do so. And he posted, he wrote me privately and he's like, "Hey, is there a good picture of you at one of the Disney parks that I can use? Because I want to give a shout out to the podcast." And I was like, "I'll just pick one. You can find one on my Facebook because we're
They're
Facebook
all
friends."
good.
They're all. I'm like, I'm good from every side, bitch. Come on.
Period.
Especially the backside.
All right.
So
Oh Lord.
Amen.
I got some backyard. So my friend John Fritz, I'm telling you, we need Rat Castle After Dark. It's it's
apparently.
great. So this is what he said. It was very sweet of him. He said, "Rat Castle has been my favorite theme park podcast this year and beyond. The gorgeous co-host David C. Cobb. I'm not making that up. That's what he said. Thank you, John. I'm putting my hands under my chin right now, looking all pretty. Gorgeous co-host David C. Cobb was my main draw to it, but everyone on the show comes with wild stories and insider knowledge. They're not afraid to point out the bullshit that Disney corporate pulls, and that's refreshing. Give it a try on your personal podcast places if you're craving a more progressive take on the industry." Thank you, John.
Thank you,
you,
John.
Sean.
John, that is ridiculously sweet. I
We
just love
appreciate
that my
that.
friends are listening. I'm not one of those people who said you're my friend, you have to listen to my podcast. I'm like, if you want to, great. And so my friends that are listening to it and giving us feedback, mwah, I love you. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank
And
you
tell-
all. And if
tell your
you
friends.
like the podcast, give us a 5-star rating on Apple Pod. We would love it, or any sort of podcasting thing. And shout us out. We would love it. Happy to retweet you on Twitter as long as we're there. We'll see. But yeah. Guys, what a fun episode. What a zany episode
This
this
is a
has
barn
been.
burner. This one. This is a
Real-
barn burner.
Real
I had a
something.
lot of fun.
Itzy, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Itsy Bitsy Mini. Same for Instagram and TikTok.
There you go. That's where you can find her. And with that, Rat Castle is produced by yours truly, the ever so handsome Nathan Hartman. And please consider subscribing, as we said, so you don't miss an episode, and rate us and all that good jazz. And you can check out our website. It's at ratcastlepodcast.podbean.com. There you can find all sorts of stuff, but you can also send questions to us and find merch links and all sorts of things at bit.ly/ratcastle, which gets you to our link tree and all sorts of stuff there. So with that said, now grab your belongings and exit to the left.
Will you stop this foolishness?
What forces would you like to see?
Will you get out of here?